Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 2021 NR2003 NASCAR Cup Series season that follows along with the real life schedule with the real life drivers here. Today, we are at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the third mile-and-a-half race of the season, but this is the first time we've come to a quad shaped oval, so definitely going to be interesting. With myself, we got Jay Cook here in the booth getting ready to take the green flag here at today's event. And Jay, I think mile-and-a-half racing this season has probably been the craziest ones of all. So I think we can expect what to see today.
Yeah, I think we'll see the same thing happen here today. A lot of three-wide racing, and a lot of these guys being really aggressive towards each other, like we've seen them being all season. This track is old. This surface is bumpy. These guys can run multiple grooves, and these with this package, obviously, these guys don't get that far from each other. So I expect to see a lot of pack racing, and as long as we don't have any wacky incidents, I think we'll probably see two and three wide for the most of this race.
Yeah, I'm very excited, honestly, to see what's going to happen here. And just from the testing we've done, we know there's going to be a lot of pack racing, a lot of three wide action, maybe four wide as well. We are experimenting actually with 2X fuel and tire wear, so you should see more pit stops in this episode. But Jay, one thing we've seen so far, you see on the front row, Joey Logano in P2, he won last week, but it's been interesting. Ford has dominated the start of the season. They've won all four races. Do you think we're going to see that carry over in today with Ford on the front row?
Well, considering they're starting in three of the top four spots, and with how good we've seen SHR be this season, it would not surprise me at all. Um, Brad Keselowski's been slowly getting himself worked back into regular season form, and we've seen him get better results over these last couple of weeks, and here he is starting on pole. So, would not shock me at all if he can maybe get it done here in Atlanta. And we've seen him be really good here at this track before in previous years. He knows how to get around this track quite well. So, it wouldn't surprise me at all to see him dominate this race and potentially get a win. And it wouldn't surprise me at all to see potentially another Ford get a win with, like you said, the way that they've been absolutely dominating this season. Is wow, there's problems already for Daniel Suarez.
Torres on the pit lane. I don't know what that's about. I don't see any damage on the car, so clearly there must be a mechanical issue or something going on with them. We'll definitely try to get an update. A brand new team, very unfortunate for them. Now is it's not very often. You do see it once in a while. The car have to pull off before the start. Hopefully, we see Suarez back on the track. Jay, he's in the playoffs right now, so that's already going to be a big hit to him, as he's already going to be way behind. As the green flag is out here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano on the front row. Row number two, Kurt Busch, as well as Ryan Blaney. And Jay, we saw Ryan Blaney come so close. There was a photo finish last week for the victory between Blaney and Logano. So I think it's a good sign of things to come from this Penske team.
Yeah, certainly. We were talking about for the first couple of weeks, it was all SHR from the Ford camp, and the Penske guys were looking terrible. And then all of a sudden last week, we saw all of them running really well, and so far today, you have three of them starting right up towards the front. So it's certainly they've turned it around very quickly, and are making themselves the team to be reckoned with, just a lot like has been so far. But I mean, there's two other guys up here that we definitely cannot count out, and that is Kurt Busch and Kyle Larson. We've seen them both be up front a lot this season, and they're both due to get a win at some point.
Yeah, I think Larson has been the fastest driver overall this season so far. He's been talked about going for a win pretty much every episode, and something has continuously gone wrong for Kyle Larson from the Daytona 500. The Daytona Road Course is really the only one we didn't really keep an eye on him, but everywhere else is something's gone wrong, including last week when he was leading, and then Jay, we saw him make two pit stops for some reason and completely throw his race away. So clearly he's got a lot of speed. Even with his bad runs, he's still in the playoffs with a bunch of points because of stage points being so important and whatnot. But I mean, with the way things are looking right now, 3 by 3, I very well think, Jay, we could see him get into some more trouble today.
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys right now they're hating this, but they're probably also loving this because I'm sure this is fun, but this is also terrifying at the same time. As they're about to go four wide into turn one. Oh, that was sketchy there for a moment.
They're still
Benedetto
four
thought
wide
better of that.
out
As
of
they're
turns
now
two.
going to be three wide for the lead off turn
Oh,
two. Holy cow. Now they're four wide again. Oof. Man, these guys, when we were talking about this race being wild, it's already playing out in what, lap three?
yeah. Oh,
Seeing
yeah. I
four
forgot to bring
wide,
up
and
the
they're
ticker. I do
somehow keeping this
apologize.
together.
Ticker is up now. I didn't even remember to bring that up, but still four wide. They went four wide for the lead. Suarez now on track, but he is multiple laps down. They're four wide in the back between Bowman, Martin Truex Jr., Chase Elliott, and Denny Hamlin as well. This is insane. There's so many cars right here. We look at Matt DiBenedetto right on the bottom. I mean, Jay, you got a guy like Eric Almirola. He's already got a win. He can do something like this and really not pay the price. So does it really surprise you to see him doing that?
No, not at all, and especially with he's another guy that we've seen have a lot of speed so far this season. So he knows that he has a car that can compete, and it doesn't surprise me at all that he's being aggressive here. Although I will say it, I think it's a little bit early to be trying to be this aggressive. But I mean, hey, when you got to win and you're locked in, might as well go for it and see what you can do. But I think this is just a little bit too early for these guys to be racing like this. I mean, they've been four wide now for 2.5 laps straight, and somehow have not wrecked.
It's destined to go wrong eventually when you go four wide for that long. DiBenedetto on the bottom, they seem to not be able to pull away from each other either. But now three wide for the lead. It's DiBenedetto to the inside now as they are still going four wide in the second row. This is insanity right now as they go down this front straightaway. There, as you see on that bottom lane, four cars deep. Alex Bowman. Jay, we've talked about him struggling a ton this season, and now here he is today having a good run. Phoenix, we saw him finally get up into the top 10. Finished just outside of the top 10 at the end of that thing, but it seems like that 48 might be starting to find something here.
Yeah, they just got off to a really bad start to the season, and I'm not too sure why. I don't know if they had that many changes in the off season, but man, they took a while to get going. And he just also had some issues as well. I believe he got into a wreck or two at the Daytona Road Course, and then there was another wreck or two in there as well, I believe. But yeah, it's finally starting to see him turn it up. I mean, only 70 something points so far into this, and he's, I believe, 60-ish points off of the playoffs right now, which is, really, really surprising to see from him. He's a guy you think of as an automatic lock into the playoffs with the way he's ran the 48 and the 88 so far in his Cup Series career. But yeah, I think that if they can find their ground here, they're going to get going and either get a win or get themselves somehow up in there with the points.
I would love to focus on other parts of the pack right now to show you guys what's happening, but this is very, very close racing here, and something could go wrong any second. So we're going to stay focused on this for now. They're also four wide, just a little bit further back there. Chase Elliott, another driver. Jay, the defending champion, but I think we've seen some struggles out of him as well so far this season. He's another driver. He's up inside the playoffs. He's not really struggling, but I just saw a little bit of contact actually between him as well as Kevin Harvick there. So that certainly could have turned into a bit of a moment, but they seem to kind of get leveled out right now. But do you think he's having just a little bit of a championship hangover?
Potentially, seems like he has been so far. I mean, we went to the Daytona Road Course, and all of us were screaming that he's going to win this race, and he's going to get so many wins this season because of the road courses, and he did not look good there at all. He didn't look good in the Clash. He didn't look good in the points race either. So it's potential. He's potentially going through a bit of a championship slump or a championship hangover, as you want to call it. But I don't know. I'm not ready to call it that this season is just a wash for him yet. I mean, we've seen him be competitive. We haven't seen him completely dominate a race yet, but he's at least shown to have speed. And I think this entire Hendrick organization has a lot of speed in their cars. So, maybe give him some time to just kind of get back into season form, and he'll get up there and probably get a couple wins this season, I'm sure.
Kyle Larson side by side with Brad Keselowski for that lead spot. As crazy as it is, we're noticing the same thing as Keselowski staying up front the whole time. So
That's
definitely
that's the same thing I was going to mention earlier. Is one thing that's been constant throughout all of this battling is Keselowski has been the one leading, which I think shows so far how good of a car he has.
yeah, but Larson, if you can get clear of him, it doesn't look like he will. That might be a big opportunity right there. We also forgot to mention, by the way, Stage 1 comes to an end at the end of lap 50. Stage 2, as Kyle Larson, by the way, does clear Keselowski, Stage 2 ends at the end of lap 100, and then we race it all the way to the end of lap 195 for the race victory now, as Larson leads the way. Now starting to calm down a little bit, but I mean, the way this is going so far, I can't even imagine how crazy these restarts are going to be for Stage 2 as well as Stage 3. We look at the fastest lap times right now. Kyle Busch with the fastest time over Bubba Wallace. Now, Jay, I don't know if that's really a good indicator because they're running in a massive pack of cars right now, as it shows Busch up in P1 for the fastest times, but I don't really know if that signifies him being the fastest car.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if it does either. I kind of agree with you. These guys are, we know that they're technically slower when they're running in a pack like this. So I'm not too sure if we should be looking at fastest laps yet. Plus, these guys haven't been able to make a pit stop and make changes yet. So I wouldn't be looking at the fastest laps too much yet. But you mentioned a second ago about it being calmer. Well, when you say calmer, we mean going from 4 wide down to 3 wide.
Three.
So it's not much calmer, but man, it's still like we were saying at the beginning of this race was probably going to be a lot of 3 wide and 2 wide, and so far it's been a lot of 3 wide, 2 wide, and 4 wide.
Yeah, and I'm surprised, like, just given these mile and a half, Kyle Busch actually, and Ryan Blaney, as I was about to mention the crashing, Busch and Blaney both have damage on the right side of their cars. It looks like Kyle's actually hit the wall now, so that's going to be something to keep an eye on here, as that's going to affect the handling of that 18 car, potentially the 12 car of Blaney as well. We've seen these AI have a little bit of trouble going into turns one without clipping that wall, so you're definitely going to see that a few times here and there. Now as Joey Logano tries to get back past Kyle Larson there in P2 and P3. I just saw the 18 hit it again, Jade. It looks like the 18 of Kyle Busch, as we were talking about him having speed. Something seems to be going wrong with this 18 car.
He cannot keep himself away from issues so far this season. If there's one guy who has been constantly putting himself into situations he doesn't want to be in, it's been Kyle Busch. I think every single race this season, he has put himself in the wall and given himself damage that he didn't need to get, and just unnecessarily causing issues for himself. And it's really gonna, if he keeps doing that, if he keeps that up, that's really gonna hurt his long run on the season. And he could potentially be one of those guys that's fighting and scrounging for that last playoff spot, and he might miss it if he keeps this up.
As of right now, I believe he is the first car out of the playoffs, if I am not mistaken. So Kyle in need to be consistent at this point in the season. Hamlin kind of washed up the track a little bit right there and got close to Alex Bowman, but they do keep it clean there. But you can see the 12s caved in a little bit on the right. Kyle Busch even more so now, as he's actually kind of calmed it down there, keeping away from the wall, to say the least, here as they come through now on lap 19 of this event. And it's still Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson up here, Matt DiBenedetto. Jay, we've mentioned DiBenedetto having a rough season, but yet he's actually up inside, well inside the playoffs right now, sitting kind of comfortable. So it's really fascinating. It seems like these stage points are really important because he's been having rough results, but he's still up inside the playoffs.
Yeah, he's ran really well, and he's just the performance that he gets at the end, the result has just not been the greatest. He's been involved in some incidents, and he's just also not had the speed a couple times so far this season. But in the times where he hasn't had issues, he's had okay finishes, and he's certainly had those stage points, like you said, to rely on. So that just goes to show, in my opinion, how really important these stage points are. And if you can finish fourth, fifth each time, and or get a win or two out of those stages, it really, really goes a long way in your season. Because if you have a bad race or two, you can fall back on those stage points, and it's not going to affect you so much.
And DiBenedetto currently three wide in the middle between his affiliate teammate of Joey Logano, and then he's got Denny Hamlin on his inside. You see a rookie, Austin Cindric, up in the mix as well, just behind this big group of cars, still within striking distance on the inside of Cole Custer. Custer has a win this season already, back recently at Homestead Miami Speedway. He is locked into the playoffs, as well as the 10 of Eric Almirola is locked in after winning recently at Las Vegas. So, I mean, Jay, we look at it, I guess, this way. Stewart-Haas Racing has won both of the mile and a half races, so I think that we can definitely watch out for them. It seems like they've got this mile and a half package maybe figured out.
Certainly, especially with Kevin Harvick too. We know how good he is in Atlanta. He dominates the crap out of this place, especially in the Xfinity Series. He doesn't have as many wins in Cup, but he runs really well here. He just hasn't pulled off the finishes. But I'm not so certain we're going to see them win today, just simply because at least so far it looks like it's all Brad Keselowski and Kyle Larson. Obviously, we know there's a long race left, and pit stops can still be made, but I mean, so far to me, it looks like Keselowski's car is the absolute car to beat. And I think with just the way he runs in Atlanta, and the way we've seen him dominate races in the past year, he knows how to get it done. And I truly do think we'll see Keselowski win here today.
We've seen Keselowski win here in the past in real life. Jay, honestly, though, I think if we've learned anything from this series so far, is something will go wrong for Kyle Larson before this race ends.
Yeah, it's something will go wrong for him, and something will go wrong for probably a couple of these other guys up here too. It never fails. We'll see somebody having a really good run, we'll talk about them, and then all of a sudden they're having an issue and they're wrecking and they're in the garage. And with Larson, we're always talking about him having a really good speed, and then a lap car gets in his way. So something's bound to happen at some point in this race that makes this thing very, very interesting.
And we know now as we close in towards the halfway point of stage one, we know lap traffic is going to end up being potentially a factor, especially if we start to see some crashes in this race. I mean we've come through the field right now. William Byron down in P17. We've seen some speed from him. Daniel Suarez, Jay, he came to the pit lane right off the bat. It's 5 laps down, by the way, but clearly we're seeing right here, it actually looks like he's closing in on the 24, so certainly no lack of speed in that car. Maybe there was a potential electrical issue or something.
Yeah, I'm assuming that the car didn't get fired. The way that he immediately went to the box and didn't even make a lap around pit road. I'm assuming there was something with the ignition or a battery or something that did not let that car fire. And then once they figured it out, he's obviously shown that he has the speed. But unfortunately for him, 5 laps is just going to be way too much to recover from. So for him, he's just going to have to hope that some guys get involved in some wrecks and he gets just passes cars that are DNF'd. But it's really unfortunate for him, considering you mentioned he's inside the playoffs, and we know that team being a new team, they need to get any good run they can. And when they have a day like this where they're 5 laps down already right at the start of the race, that's not good. That's not what you want to see from them. As I think scheduled green flag pit stops are happening now, so we're going to start seeing these guys come down pit road within the next couple of laps.
We'll determine if it's scheduled. It does seem scheduled, but I was trying to catch it there. I saw him kind of cut off there, but Blaney, the only one on the pit lane, so I'm not sure if it's 100% scheduled or not. And they are kind of sitting there for a second, but you do notice. Actually, I can't get an angle right there. You see, there is a little bit of right side damage on that car, Jay. So maybe they had a tire going down from hitting the wall or something potentially, but it didn't look as bad as the 18. So I really don't know what's going on there.
The only thing I can think of is maybe they're wanting to short pit a
They
tiny
did
bit
fix
and
it.
get that damage fixed and get him back out there on fresh tires, and he can maybe make up that ground a little bit from the time that he had to sit there, and maybe not lose too much ground. But I'm expecting these guys to be pitting here pretty soon because with us having it on 2 times now, this is around the time that they would make a pit stop.
Yeah, they definitely should have to pit soon here, and we know they shouldn't be able to make it
Looks
to
like
the
these
end.
guys are coming in right here.
Yep, there they go. Keselowski, Larson, Kevin Harvick, all coming in to their boxes. We already have a bunch of other cars in their boxes as well. I believe Alex Bowman
Now, one
pitted as well.
thing One thing we haven't really had to deal with so far this season is truly green flag pit stops. And something that happens is these guys will run into each other quite a lot on pit road. Like they'll just suddenly jerk into their box or they'll pull out of their box in front of someone. So that's something that we'll need to watch out for and hope that these guys don't have issues while they're making their green flag pit stops.
Keselowski, Larson, the two we're really watching right here. Almirola in his box, Harvick as well. Now, as Harvick's just getting the left sides jacked up here, as it's going to be interesting. This is the first time we've really had this in this series. Seems pretty clean. Larson off and Keselowski. Oh, Harvick gained a good chunk of ground right there. But also, Jay, we're going to have some lap cars in the mix now as they come out of the pit lane. So that's going to, I'm sure, shake up things even more as Larson has a really poor exit.
Yeah, that was surprising for him. I understand that he was in the non-preferred line there, but he basically just sat there not on the gas at all, and that's going to hurt him a lot, I think. So not a great pit exit for Larson, but yeah, you mentioning those lap cars there, they're probably going to be in the way and do what they are, do what they do on NR and sit in the way and cause issues for these guys. So expect to see that happening here early already.
It also seems like short pitting is the thing. Kyle Busch as well fixed his damage, so he's going to be a little bit behind. But I think short pitting is definitely a strategy to keep in mind here because we are noticing right off the bat Chase Elliott and De Benedetto, they pitted before a lot of these guys, and they are now well in front of those guys that pitted after. So a good strategy call, Jay, I think, from two drivers that need to make sure they're getting some good stage points.
Good strategy call that you hope, with the way this track destroys and eats tires, that you hope isn't gonna wind up hurting them on the long run. If they pitted, only 2 or 3 laps before, that might be all right. I don't think either one of us caught when they actually pitted. But if they pitted 4 or 5 laps before the leaders did, they might get absolutely swallowed up and have no chance when the leaders get to them and have no chance towards
Uh,
the end of this run either. Oh boy.
Ignore that. I hit the shift key too many times.
Nice job.
Oh,
But
please don't. We're okay.
anyways, so yeah, hopefully their tires do not wind up costing them on the long run.
I agree. That was a bit of an awkward moment. I don't think we're even going to edit that one out because it was just really weird. But I'm going to have to be careful with that shift key from now on as Chase Elliott leads away down this back straightaway. Now that things are truly, in my opinion, calm, we're going to go for a quick break here and bring you to the end of stage one here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. And we are back here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. During the break, Austin Cindric leading a single file line, chased down both Chase Elliott as well as Matt DiBenedetto. So now they are up in the mix, bringing Kevin Harvick along as well, rounding out the top five. But we got a rookie of Austin Cindric currently up here in the mix. Tyler Reddick, Martin Truex Jr., they're just at the tail end of this group, both having solid runs. We've seen Truex show some signs of speed here lately in this series, so we know that he's going to have something. They're also, though, coming up on a group of lapped cars here. We got the 53 car of Garrett Smithley, the 78, the 54, as well as the 62. Jay, we know what lap traffic likes to do in this game. I'm sure that this stage very well could be decided right here with this group of lapped cars.
We see it happen every week, and it's probably going to continue to keep happening as well. As they are really catching these guys with a full steam. They're really catching these guys right now. Is basically what I'm trying to say. And they're going to probably catch them here within probably the end of this lap, if not about the same time here on the back straightaway on the next lap. And like you mentioned, we've seen what lap cars do, and they'll stay in the way, and they'll be a nuisance, and they'll be annoying, especially when there's what, four of them right there. Yeah, so four of them is going to be definitely a big issue for these leaders here.
Elliott is actually going to get through Smithley with no problem. He looks to the inside. He's okay for a moment now, but he's got to get through the 78 of McLeod, who stays high. Cindric's really paying the price. Anyone on that outside already paying the price there. Kozlowski as well, so the Penske duo right there. As Elliott, DiBenedetto, Harvick, they stick to the bottom, and they're making it work, Jay. And we're seeing now Kevin Harvick move up to P3. You mentioned earlier how good he is at this racetrack, and we've just continuously, since the start of this race, see him slowly just kind of click off positions and get closer to the front.
Yeah, and they might have made some adjustments on that run too, and it also certainly helps when you have the top two guys get held up by lap. Well, not top two, but a couple of the guys in front of you get held up by lap cars and stuck behind them, and you get a free pass right on by them. But I mean, yeah, certainly, one I was mentioning earlier, you can't count him out of this race. He runs so good here in Atlanta. And the way he's been in the latter stages of his career, where he just wins so much, would not surprise me at all to see him win today. But I'm still calling out Kozlowski is the one to beat.
I mean,
Harvick might have had a
wow.
slight contact with the wall there. He got very close if he did not touch it.
Two wins already on the season as well for Harvick, including a dual victory. And if I'm not mistaken, did he win the Clash? I can't remember. No, that was the one car of Kurt Busch. That's who that was. The Clash was just insane. Now, as they go down into turns three, that was really close for Harvick. He was also almost getting run into by the 62 of the rookie of Noah Gragson now. But I mean, things nice and calm here within the final 10 laps. For the most part, anyways, in stage one, Chase Elliott out in front. It seems like, Jay, these fresher tires have caught these two drivers of Elliott and DiBenedetto, but it seems like it's really hard to actually pass once you get there.
Catching is one thing, passing is another. Thing that we've all heard said a million times. Especially with this package, it really is. You can catch a guy, but it's so hard to pass them. And especially with the way this track is now, it's just passing is kind of hard here. Even though you can run multiple lines, both lines have about the same speed. So it's really, especially with the way lap cars are, it's really all about catching a lap car at the right time and getting around them at the right time. Because I mean, unless you just have an absolute tire advantage, you're really not going to get past by past guy. You're not going to get past guys here really easily without something else holding them up, like Quinn Hoff is doing right now to Chase Elliott.
Hey, he's holding up everybody. Oh, no, there we go. Cindric goes by on the bottom. So, I mean, the short pitting got Chase Elliott out in front, but Gwen Helf is going to get Chase Elliott down to second to third, maybe even fourth by the time he gets done with this. Now, as I mean, at least these lap guys seem to be committing to one lane, Jay. But I mean, obviously they're still just clearly in the way now as you see Cindric gets clear. Not really expecting to see a rookie like Austin Cindric to be up here in the mix, but here he is. But it seems like, though, other than lap traffic, Jay, I think the short pitting strat right there, Elliott and DiBenedetto very well proving that that's something that these guys should consider for the rest of this race.
I agree. Yeah, short pitting is certainly it helped them a lot. It gained them some ground. I think the only thing that hurt them really badly is, I mean, well, of course, the lap car there went off, but I think when they were deciding to run too wide instead of just being single file is really what got them caught by those 4 or 5 guys that were behind them. Because, I mean, when you have 4 or 5 guys running in a single file line with the way the package is now, that's almost like drafting at Talladega. And when you have 2 guys running side by side compared to 4 or 5 guys running in a single file line, they're just going to have so much more speed and catch you a lot quicker. So I think that was the only really mistake that those two did was deciding to run side by side, but at the same time, I mean, it's going for the race lead and potential stage win if you keep away from those guys behind you. So I don't really blame them for racing hard, but yeah, I would say that short pitting certainly got them to where they are right now, and it's definitely an advantage.
Coming to 3 to go in stage 1, by the way, and this could be, I think it would be the first stage, or the first time at a mile and a half this season that we went green all of stage 1, if I'm not mistaken. We know Homestead, they crashed on lap 16 and took out all the good cars. I can't remember what happened at Las Vegas, but either way, I think this will be the first time it stays green here, approaching the final few laps of the stage. Elliott finally getting past the 00 of Quinn Half now. But Cindric doing a good job holding his own here now as Harvick finally muscling his way through. Jay, we know this guy's got already a good chunk of playoff points from the couple wins he got. So, I mean, he's just going for as many playoff points as he can get at this point. I mean, that's pretty much the rest of his regular season.
I mean, might as well, right? You know you're on a good car, a good team, and have a good car, and you know how good you are at this track. So might as well go for it and give it your all, right? I mean, why not? And I mean, one thing I'm impressed with so far is to see Harvick not really able to blow by Cindric. I was expecting him to kind of just make easy work of Cindric, but Cindric is fighting back on that outside and really making those runs that you get beat on the outside line work. And honestly, I'm not sure that Harvick's going to be able to win the stage. I think Cindric will get a run off that high side and win this stage.
And it is the final lap of stage 1 is underway now. Harvick, Cindric side by side. Cindric trying to pick up a playoff point. It seems like to the center. The car on the bottom gets a really good run, but the car on the outside has a great exit as they go down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4 for the final time here in stage 1. Now is Cindric still barely out in front? I think he's going to get it as they come through out of turns 4. Sure enough, Austin Cindric, the rookie, comes through to win stage 1. Harvick got second there, just barely over Keselowski. Matt Benedetto, Chase Elliott, your top 5. Kyle Larson ran down this pack of cars. Definitely keep an eye on him in stage 2 as Logano, Almirola, Truex, and Cole Custer round out the top 10 as Bubba Wallace, first driver there without stage points there. But Jay, I mentioned it right there. I saw the 5 car of Larson run that pack down. So I think he clearly has a lot of speed and maybe got that car even better under the pit stops.
I didn't even notice that happen. That is a really good point that you made there. That quite surprising to see him do that. But like we were mentioning earlier, when these guys run side by side, I think there's such a big disadvantage. I think that certainly had something to do with what happened there. But I'm not too sure what's going on with Chase Elliott right now and that group of cars back there.
Seems like they
I
might be
don't
speeding
know
up.
what has held these guys up. Hopefully, there's no issue for the 9 car, and it's just something to do with
He's
the
staying out.
lap car being in the way. That's a questionable decision.
Huh. I don't know how to react to that one. Elliott stays on the track along with some lap cars, Daniel Suarez, but Elliott will be out front. It'll be interesting to see if he comes in next time around. I'm not sure. Jay, would he even be allowed to pit next time around?
I believe he would be, and the only thing I can think of is if he does that, maybe they're thinking that the positioning that he was with the pit box is they want to just have him come in by himself in case there's some kind of issue, or I don't know, maybe there was a miscommunication. I'm not really sure, but there's no way that they're actually trying to stay out here. If they do, that's a big mistake for this 9 team.
Cindric wins the race off of the pit lane, but that currently puts him P2 to Elliott there as Larson, DeBenedetto, Keselowski, they all come out. Logano, a very poor pit stop, actually, now might find himself outside of the top 10 as you see all the other cars come out. Bowman, he was another driver that kind of got shuffled down through that order. He ended up coming up short of a top 10 now as we're going to look to see what Kyle Busch actually just has no front end now. So that's something we're going to have to look for actually before we start stage 2. Jay, things just got worse as usual for Kyle Busch, the first driver out of the playoffs. Is to see Elliott's going to stay out.
I think it's a tie at this point between Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch for unluckiest driver. But if there's one guy who's had more consequences with his bad luck, it's Kyle Busch. Kyle Larson at least had some decent finishes this season and still looks good in the points wise. Kyle Busch, as you mentioned earlier, is the first driver out of the playoffs right now, and I mean this is certainly not going to help his case today. I have no idea what happened yet, but that's not good. I know that.
That is correct. It's never good when you don't have a front end in NASCAR. We're going to go for a quick break and come back for the start of stage two, where Chase Elliott will lead the field to the green after a questionable call to stay out from the pit lane. Back at Atlanta, here's the reason for Kyle Busch's incident here of why he has no front end. He ran into Ross Chastain there under caution, being at the back of the field. I'm going to guess it's just he just misjudged his braking and just drilled the back of the 42, and now is without a front bumper here at Atlanta Motor Speedway as we're getting ready to take the green flag here in stage two. Now to the live scene with Chase Elliott out front. Jay, very questionable call because I'm sure he's going to have to pit within, 5 to 10 laps at the most.
Yeah, I don't really know what they're thinking here. I cannot, and he can't make it to the end of the stage either when they restart this thing here and he pits. So I'm kind of baffled by what's happening here, but I think we'll see him probably retain the lead for maybe a lap or two while we'll have these lap guys in the way. But once the lap guys get out of the way, I mean, look at that. He's slower than the lap guys.
Wow. No
It's
fresh
just it
tires.
shows how
That's what
bad
happened.
his tires are. He may get blown away by the guys who are behind the lap cars.
Now, if a caution
Look at
comes
that. Bubba
out,
Wallace is going to go to the
wow,
lead.
Bubba Wallace to the lead. If a caution comes out right now, Jay, think about all these lap cars that get their lap back as well.
That's a huge advantage for those guys too. Yeah, you're right. If a caution does come out, and it's also a huge advantage for somebody like Bubba Wallace. I mean,
Yeah,
look at that. Chase is going to come to pit road right now. It looks like I think. Yep,
wow.
he does. Really, really, really massive mistake from that team. I cannot wrap my head around what they were thinking.
Yeah, I will have to try and get an answer from them. Is yeah, Bubba Wallace. Well, he was leading. He just lost the lead to the one car of Kurt Busch and actually Austin Dillon leads the way right now. But we got lap cars in the mix. This is a recipe for potential disaster. But I mean, Elliott also kind of got things spread out a little bit. But I'm sure they're going to close in on this main group of cars very, very quickly now. As Christopher Bell as well up in the mix. Jay, we really haven't seen much from Christopher Bell. I think so far he's really been the weak link at Joe Gibbs Racing, and here he is now with that restart running up in the top three.
Yeah, he was running really poorly earlier in the race, especially compared to his teammates. And now look at him; he's leading this darn race. So, actually, he's second place. I'm sorry, I forget that Kurt Busch is on the lead lap. But yeah, that created a very interesting restart, and it gave a lot of these guys free positions that honestly I expect them to probably lose pretty soon once they get separated from these lap cars and the second group of lead cars catches up here because I don't imagine they'll stay behind for very long.
Hamlin and Harvick up to that group. Keselowski, Cindric trying to get there, as well as bring in Matt DiBenedetto, Kyle Larson. Right now, Larson runs in that 11th position. We look at the fastest laps again. Now Truex with the fastest lap. Eric Almirola, Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson. Your top five in terms of that. Now, as we look to the top 10 again, so DiBenedetto currently actually just got past there now as he heads down this run straightaway. We see all this. The lap traffic is really mixing things up as Kurt Busch could be the first car to get clear here, and that'd be a big opportunity for him as he leads the way. Jay, we saw Kurt, of course, win the Clash in dramatic fashion, but other than that, he's been a very quiet driver this season, but still consistent.
That's the perfect way to describe Kurt Busch is consistent and fast. I mean, we've seen him be fast so far this season. We haven't seen him take control of a race and completely show that he has the dominant car, but we have seen him be consistently fast so far this season. And I mean, this is a perfect opportunity for him right here. I think if he gets clear of these guys, while the other lead lap cars are fighting their way through to get past all of them, I think Kurt could potentially run away for a bit here. And if these other lead cars don't ever get lined up, he could potentially just be given a free win to this stage. Obviously, a long way to go, but and I mean, considering never mind who I see clear already, never mind. He's definitely not going to run away with this. As Kevin Harvick is going to probably make a run for the lead here pretty darn soon.
Both Harvick and Hamlin ran this group down. Even Austin Dillon trying to make a three-wide move there to the inside now as we got about 8 cars right here in this little group. And then, of course, everybody else still getting through lap traffic and whatnot. The 99 of Suarez is 5 laps down in this race, but clearly there's a lot of speed in that 99 Trackhouse car. So overall, very unfortunate, Jay, I think, to see a new team like Trackhouse have so much speed right here that they're showing, but end up being in the position that they're in, and they cannot find a way to rebound, of course, with the way the rules are.
Yeah, he's almost going to go and pass our leader of Kurt Busch here and get himself, I think, 4 laps down now if he were able to do that and stay that way. But, I mean, still unfortunate like you were mentioning. I mean, clearly he has speed, and that team has shown to be pretty decent this season. As we were mentioning earlier, he's in the playoffs, and this is the kind of run that you don't want to see him have, considering they know they're going to need to have every good run possible, especially being a new team. But I mean, they're out here collecting data, running laps, and can certainly, if issues still happen in this race and guys get involved in wrecks, they can certainly still gain a decent amount of positions. I mean, we've had at least one race this season, I believe, where we only had 20 something car, like 22-ish cars
I
finish.
think it was
So if we
less.
get another race like that today, yeah, if we get another race like that today and he stays clean, he could finish in 20th place 4 laps down and still get a decent points day out of it. So you never know what can happen in NR.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy, wild start to the season. Um, we also have Bristol Dirt next week. I haven't personally done any testing, but Jay, you can. I think you said you mentioned something about it, like it's actually kind of boring with how it is or whatnot.
Yeah, it's the at least the one track that I've tested. I haven't seen if there is a new one since. The one that I did was the last time I looked was about a month and a half, 2 months ago. So it's highly possible someone has made a more updated version. The one that I found is for like '01 Bristol for some dirt thing they had there a long time ago. And the way the Cup cars race on it is just it's almost like a normal Bristol race until you get a caution. And when you get a caution, the cars like to pit really weirdly, and you'll see half the field be a lap down after one either set of pit stops or one caution, and it just kind of gets worse from there. So I'm hoping that a new updated track comes out, but if not, we'll have to stick with what we got next week and hope for a good race.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm interested to see what that one's going to be like for us from our broadcast perspective now. As you got the 20 of Christopher Bell actually was able to take the lead away from Kurt Busch. And I'm really surprised here that we're not really seeing any incidents, especially earlier in the race when there were 4x4 for a few moments today. Like I said, I'm really surprised we haven't seen a single incident today other than Kyle Busch under caution.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised about that as well. I mean, we've seen how aggressive these guys are, and one little mistake, especially with how these guys are racing 3 wide and stuff, one little mistake can create a big incident. Somebody gets in the wall and they come across someone's bumper, boom, big wreck. So still really high potential for something like that to happen, especially now that I believe Kyle Busch is running considerably off the pace compared to these guys. And if they run up on him 3 wide like this really quickly, there could be nowhere for some of these guys to go, and all of a sudden, bam, wreck. So I mean, okay, he's not actually as far back as I thought he was, but I have no doubt that they will get to him before the stage is over with. And if they're still 3 wide when they get to him, it could be a big issue.
Absolutely. Now is their 3 wide for the lead. And I'm interested to see here with these guys in the draft bring up the kind of speedometer down the back straightaway. I just want to compare these guys to Chase Elliott. You got Austin Dillon hitting 186 there into turns three. And then we compare that to Chase Elliott with no drafting help down the front straightaway there. Crosses the line 176, 177. Doesn't even get to 180 there. So interesting. These guys, Jay, are likely going to run down Chase Elliott here, and Elliott's interesting. He's already a lap down, by the way, because he did pit, but he could go 2 laps down now and completely throw his race away with just that one terrible pit call.
Yeah, he's going to definitely lose a lap here. I mean, there's no way he doesn't get caught by these guys, especially if he's running that far off. Now, I don't know. Check what the front straightaway comparisons are here, because it could just be the fact that the front straightaway is slower. As we've seen doing
180,
180 into turn one, these guys, okay, so
187.
doing about 7 or 8 mile an hour faster than Chase Elliott. So yeah, that's certainly not good for him, and especially considering that when these leaders pit, he's still going to have to make another pit stop after them as well and lose another lap on that pit stop, a lap or two on that pit stop. So really not good things for him right now. And I really still question the pit call. I cannot believe the team made that kind of call and have now thrown their race away like this.
It seems like every week we've had some weird like pit call happen. I mean, we saw it with Kyle Larson last episode, and he threw his race away when he had an opportunity to win. We know he has a fast car today, but when it's 3x3 like this, it's really hard to get anywhere. He's currently fifth in line on the very top there in that third lane. And the outside lane, Jay, I think is proving like it actually can hold its own very well, even when we're 3x3x3. So it's really hard to decide what lane you want to be in, but it does seem like that outside seems to get a better exit off the corner.
I think the outside line is the preferred line here. I mean, you can get such a good run on the outside line compared to the inside, and especially with how old and bumpy this track is. I think the track is a lot smoother on the top side, and plus, I mean, you know that you can get back into the gas a lot quicker than you can to the guys on the bottom, and they're probably going to deal with bumps too. So, yeah, I think the outside line is certainly the more dominant and definitely the preferred lane here. So it looks like Bubba Wallace actually has some damage to that right side. I think he's
Yep.
gotten into the wall at least once or twice.
I also saw the 5 of Larson hit the wall earlier, and the two car just clipped it, but I do see a little bit of damage on the right side of the 5. Obviously not impacting as we got 4 wide action here. I was wondering if they were going to start going 4 wide, and here we are. Daniel Suarez 5 laps down, 4 wide right now in the middle. I would not be comfortable if I was him there, as they've proven they can make 4 wide work. So I wouldn't be terribly concerned, but at the same time, who knows what's going to happen here as
I
also they
think they're
approach
more
Elliott.
concerned with they're running 4 wide as they're coming up on Chase Elliott. That's the more
Oh,
concerning
they
thing.
settled out. 3 wide.
I still just I think them catching a lap car while they're in a pack like this could get hairy. This is going to be interesting to watch.
Elliott down the back straight away. Yeah, if I was these guys, I'd be getting sorted out as quickly as possible now as they go down into turns 3. It's going to be still 3 wide for the lead. Harvick sends it in there up the inside, and now Bell actually he's going to get clear here out of turns 4, so he's in good shape. Now is Elliott, he might stay to the right hand side here. Yes, he does, but that's going to put him 2 laps down, pretty much guaranteeing the end of his opportunities here today. Honestly, Jay, it seems like they calmed down at the perfect time because they were right there within vicinity of that 9. But look up ahead, it's the 18 of Kyle Busch. It's about to get really interesting, I think.
I think that now that Chase Elliott is with the pack, I'm not sure he's gonna. He could potentially stay for keep from getting 2 laps down here because I mean we know he has speed. The only thing he has done is made a pit stop. So we know he hasn't lost speed, and now that he has drafting help, he may be able to stay with these leaders here. But a guy who doesn't have the speed the leaders do is Kyle Busch, and they're going to run him down really quickly right here. And for these first 4, it may not be so bad, but those guys back there are still 3 wide and in a big bunch of mess. It could get really bad for them.
Elliott to the back of the 18. Also, keep in mind there should be pit stops coming very shortly here for the main leaders now, as Kyle Busch is going to be potentially forced 3 wide, I believe. Oh, he can't really seem to make up his mind there. I actually thought the 20 was going to get him in the quarter panel for a second. But no, Kyle stays outside and blocks his teammate Denny Hamlin. So Harvick goes through into second place here. As if you're on the outside at this point, you're in big trouble now. As Alex Bowman, actually, I've been noticing him. He's been kind of dropping back quite a bit here in this second stage. Seems like they've gone the wrong direction in terms of their adjustments on this car. But Bell J is doing a really good job of holding on to this lead. I didn't think he had the speed to do it, but he's doing a good job. I think it shows with the clean air how important it is.
Yeah, I didn't think so either, especially after the way he was running in the beginning of this race. I mean, we saw Hamlin up here, Kyle Busch before he had the problems. He was running up here. Truex is obviously up here. And then where was Christopher Bell? He was somewhere down in the 20s, maybe even the 30s. He was nowhere near the front, and then he got gifted that, right there at the beginning, he got gifted a top spot, and he got gifted the lead. And yeah, I think what you said there about clean air, I think that is certainly true.
Ooh,
Clean air is dominant. Man, he's going to cross over Chase Elliott and try and get him 2 laps down here. I think that's something that all these guys want to do is put him 2 laps down and guarantee that he has no chance left in this race. But yeah, I'm also quite surprised that Christopher Bell is keeping the lead here and showing that he actually does have speed when I thought he didn't.
there he is side by side. You notice, by the way, Kyle Busch is still in this pack. I mean, he's way off the pace, but actually, he's not terribly off the pace, which is really surprising. We do got our first set of pit stops. The leader, actually, the 2 front runners, Bell as well as Harvick, Truex, Custer. You see Alfredo, the rookie, come in as well. So they're going to get their pit stops underway now as Kyle Busch continues to hold up his teammate of Denny Hamlin. But Jay, I think that great call, by the way, for the 20. I think he should definitely continue to hold on to the lead, but these guys got to start coming in and thinking about pitting here within another lap or two, and it looks like they might pit right here.
Yeah, which is a really really smart decision for them. Kind of get themselves down pit road, get the fresh tires on the car, and not really have to deal with the lap guys that much, and get themselves probably out in front of them and away from those lap guys. Is another person that's fallen down the order that we haven't mentioned so far is Logano, the guy running up front towards the start of this race, and he now so far in the second stage has not been running very well at all.
Yeah, no, he hasn't been very relevant. He's fallen down. Bowman's fallen down. Everyone seems to get into their pit box pretty clean. Kyle Busch is there as well. They might actually hold him. I wonder to do some more repairs on that car. You see Chase Elliott going by in the frame right now, but of course we're wondering where's the 20, the 4 drivers like those guys, maybe Cole Custer, going to stack up against this very group right here because they came in a lap earlier now as Almirola, Kurt Busch, the first 2 drivers out as there they go, you see in the background Kevin Harvick, Christopher Bell actually side by side. Kurt Busch, the one that wins the race of that group off of the pit lane. But there goes the 4 and the 20, and Jay, they are going to destroy everybody, it looks like.
Oh, absolutely blow him away here, and I think that goes to show you right there how much tire wear counts. Because here comes Cole Custer, he's going to be into third place, and Alfredo might get into fourth. Just really goes to show how much tire wear affects the cars here. I mean, the Atlanta just completely eats these tires and destroys them. And I mean, within 25 laps, these guys are having to pit just with how bad the tire wear is here.
I think short pitting could win this race here. In that third and final stage, Bowman, he's just now coming out of the pit lane. He pitted. Actually, really surprising to see that. He was quite a ways back. He was down in like 20th place. So I would have looked to him to short pit, but nope. Absolute opposite comes in very late. Now, as you see, Alfredo running very good because of that short pit call. So it's currently Christopher Bell, Kevin Harvick, Alfredo, Custer, and Kurt Busch, your top 5. But we also saw how important those fresh tires are late in the stage. So it's going to be interesting to see how things shake up here. We're going to go for a quick break once again and bring you guys to the end. Hold up just a second. Matt DiBenedetto has a lot of right side damage, Jay. That very well is going to take him out of the running of this race, or for a good finish at least.
I'm not too sure what happened to him, but you don't want to see that at all. That's not good. That's a lot of damage to that right side. I have to think that he was potentially trying to get around someone who was slower than him, maybe coming off the pit lane or something, and made heavy contact with a wall. As Chase Elliott, I think this is Chase Elliott's scheduled pit stop here,
Correct.
so he's going to fall back down at least 2 laps down, if not 3 or 4 laps down, and be on that same sequence of laps down as Daniel Suarez. But yeah, very very not good for De Benedetto, especially if that damage is not repairable, and he winds up being way off the pace.
Bubba Wallace, by the way, Logano's got front end damage. I notice. We were about to go to break, but I'm noticing the stuff. Bubba, who was up in the mix, is down in 28th now. As De Benedetto does come off the pit lane, so we're gonna find out what in the world
We
happened.
noticed that we mentioned earlier that Bubba had some right side damage. I'm assuming that is why he's down that
Maybe
far because
repairing it. Yeah.
Larson
Whoa, hold up.
Larson had the same thing. Oh goodness, Christopher Bell, Chris Buescher, big damage to the rear end of that car. I'm guessing that's from slowing down to get to pit road. Maybe from Joey Logano.
Possibly.
I haven't seen
Hamlin
anyone
in
else with front
24th
end
as well.
damage. I'm
So
assuming he also has some damage to fix as well.
really interesting here now as we're looking through. I don't see any other cars that stick out to me. But I mean, we'll wait to show that stuff to the end of stage 2 when we have figured out everything that has happened to those select drivers. But finally, we're going to go for a very quick break here and bring you to the end of stage 2, which concludes at the end of lap 100 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Back from Atlanta Motor Speedway during the break, Kevin Harvick was able to take the lead from the 20 of Christopher Bell, who got stuck behind BJ McLeod. And you just saw right there, Joey Logano has gone a lap down last week's winner. He's in the playoffs, so this is not going to affect him too much, but he's got some damage on that car. Like we said, at the end of stage 2, we are going to find out what happened to him and then a few other drivers as well that have gotten themselves in trouble, like Matt DiBenedetto. Bubba Wallace, who was running good, is actually on the verge of going a lap down as well. Less than 10 laps to go in the stage. So, Jay, I mean, for Bubba Wallace, this is huge right here, these next 6.5 laps, because this is his whole race that could be decided right here if he stays on that lead lap or not.
He's got two things going for him. Number one, he's got De Benedetto as a pick behind him, and number two, it's very hard to get around people here with the dirty air and now the packages. So with the amount of laps left here, I think he's going to be all right. I'm not too sure about the Benedetto, but especially if those two can get hooked up and just keep pushing themselves, they'll probably be all right and be under no threat here from any of these three potential leaders. So I think that he'll be all right. But yeah, it's certainly big for him to stay on the lead lap. And honestly, I don't know what the actual qualifications are for it, but he could be so far behind that when they start stage three, it's highly possible that he'll start right in front of the leaders instead of being at the back of the lead lap. I'm not too sure how far away from the leaders you have to be in order for that not to happen, but it's highly possible that it does happen. And if it does, that's bad news for him.
Yeah, but Kurt Busch, he's trying to blow right on by these guys right here. As it goes down the front or back straightaway, side by side, he blew right past the 20 and into turns
I
three.
think that what this shows is on the long run, towards the end of it, short pitting actually hurts you because we
It
saw Kurt.
does.
He pitted with those other guys. He pitted a lap or two later than these two, and he's able to blow right by him. Tire wear is big here.
He is
I,
clear.
I think that just might be what a case of it. Just simple, tire wear.
This could be bad news for Bubba
The
Wallace right here.
62 could really hold up the 23, and if he does, that's bad.
It's exactly what's
Kurt
going to
Busch is
happen.
coming fast right now.
Oh, it's going to
They've
be
got to get
interesting.
around Noah Gregson. If they don't, this could be bad news for Bubba. It might already be bad news for him. Even if he doesn't fall a lap down, he's probably going to restart in front of the leaders
Three to
and
go.
be right there to get lapped.
So Kurt's there. Bubba's fighting for his life right now. Here as they go down into turns. What at this point, I don't see how he holds them off with 3 laps to go in the stage. Harvick, Bell, they're falling. The 41 of Custer, he's got pressure tires. Yeah, I think he pitted on the same lap as Kurt Busch. Just can't quite get there right now as they go down into turns three. But Kurt is right there. Bubba just needs to hang on for 2 more laps, but Jay, it does not look like it's going to happen because Kurt's up his inside, and this is going to put Bubba in a terrible spot for this third and final stage.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Bubba's going to be caught a lap down here, and that's really not good for him. I mean, he has the advantage of the outside line, so maybe he'll get lucky enough to keep himself in the lead lap. But like I said before, even if he stays in the lead lap, he's so close to the front of the leaders right now that when they restart for stage three, he will be in front of the leaders, and that's going to not be a good spot for him either. He's going to if that does in fact happen, he's going to need a very quick caution. Otherwise, he will be a lap down, and unfortunately for him, there's no easy way to get your lap back in this series.
Final lap of stage one underway. Bubba trying to hang on to the lead lap as they come through out of turns two. Kurt Busch looking for his first stage win of the season. We did mention he won the Clash, but hasn't won any stages in the regular season or races. But right now into turns three, Kurt has the edge over Bubba as this is the race on the line for Bubba Wallace, and Kurt is going to get clear on the exit of turns four. Bubba has a run, but it's not enough. Bubba Wallace 1 lap down right at the end of stage two. Kurt Busch with a playoff point. Harvick, Christopher Bell, Cole Custer, Tyler Reddick, your top five, as they were seemed to be kind of stuck right there. Eric Almirola, Austin Cindric, Anthony Alfredo, Kyle Larson, and the rookie of Chase Briscoe round out the top 10. Jay, we got 3 rookies up here in the top 10, both Briscoe, Alfredo, as well as Cindric. So at a track that's really hard to drive with how the surfaces nowadays, I mean, we're seeing some good performances so far out of the rookies.
Certainly, definitely good for them, but I still think it has a lot to do with A, that wacky restart that we had there, and B, we've seen some of these guys like Bubba have to repair his damage. Kyle Larson had to repair his damage. Logano getting some damage. So certainly some issues for some bigger guys, and these rookies are taking advantage of it, and getting the points that they so desperately need.
And pit stops underway now. Kurt Busch leads the field onto the pit lane. He has a very good gap going over second place going into the pit lane here. So I think there's no reason he shouldn't lose the lead here as he heads into his box here momentarily. But I mean, Jay, overall, we've seen some good racing so far in this race, especially on the restarts. And surprisingly, there hasn't been a legitimate incident yet. So I mean, setting up for I think a crazy start to stage three, and who knows what's going to happen at this point.
Yeah, this is stage three now, Gary. This is where all everything's on the line. I don't think we're going to see the same calmness, quote unquote calmness, that we've seen so far for the first two stages. These guys are going to be a lot less forgiving, and it wouldn't surprise me if we have an early incident here off the restart because we know how wild these restarts are.
And with lap traffic in the mix, we never know what's going to happen. Larson, a close moment right there with Truex, but they get it settled out now. There's going to be three wide back here, actually, but they also get that settled out. Keselowski, Hamlin, they both got shuffled back there in stage two, so they got a lot of work to do. But before we do go to break, we've gotten some angles of what has gotten Joey Logano into trouble, the 17 of Chris Buescher as well, and the 21 of Matt DiBenedetto. So we're going to check those out real quick. View of Matt DiBenedetto, who gets hooked by William Byron on the exit of the pit lane, nearly hitting the 43 of Eric Jones. And that is why we saw a whole bunch of right side damage on that car. Unfortunately, putting Matt DiBenedetto's race hopes for a win right in the garbage. Buescher as well as Logano actually a part of the same incident. Right here, you see a big checkup with Kyle Busch and Hamlin, and then Logano plows right into the back of the 17, gave him one heck of a speed boost, by the way. And yeah, I mean, that put all that damage there on the back of the 17 and some damage on the front of the 22 of Joey Logano. Trouble as well, actually, for Bubba Wallace. We were wondering why he was so far back. He ended up going a lap down at the end of stage two. When he went into his pit box right here, the rookie of Cindric has a bit of a moment, drills the right side of the 23, and of course, Bubba's got to repair that damage, or his team's got to repair that damage, and that ended up prolonging that pit stop and eventually putting him, unfortunately, a lap down here at Atlanta. With all of that said, we're going to go to a quick break here with a view from Eric Jones as we get ready to go green for stage three. And we're back here from Atlanta Motor Speedway, getting ready to go green for the start of stage three. It will be 91 laps to go when we get going here. Jay, it's been an interesting race so far. I mean, but who do you have here winning this race?
Well, honestly, I had Keselowski, but he's had some issues, so I'll go with Kevin Harvick. Why not?
Kevin
We've
Harvick.
uh, we've seen him be good so far, and I see you've now shown the leaderboard to show that Chase Elliott is indeed out of this race. Big issue for him.
Very unfortunate over there for the 9 car Chase Elliott. A gearbox issue, as you can see there, based off the leaderboard. So that's two DNFs in a row for Chase Elliott now as we get going here for the start of the third and final stage. 91 laps to go from Atlanta Motor Speedway now as Kurt Busch gets off to a great launch right there. We know that once these guys really get through this lap traffic here, that it's really going to turn into a big pack of cars going at it. So it's going to be interesting here to see how this all forms out now as Bubba Wallace trying to waste no time to get back on that lead lap right now. But Jay, we've seen Christopher Bell ever since he's gotten up here. He's held his own very well. Like we mentioned earlier, he was not running good at all, but got lucky, got up here, and now here he is running, continuing to run good.
Yeah, it's very important for him to keep this run going here as we start stage three. I mean, I still think that maybe once we get some of the guys who are up here in the front earlier back up here, that they won't be able to maintain his position, kind of like Tyler Reddick, Cole Custer, Anthony Alfredo, and some others up here. But I mean, take advantage of the situation you're given, I guess. I mean, we still got some of these guys struggling, like Keselowski, Larson, Logano, obviously getting damaged. I think he's a lap or two down now. Bubba being a lap down. So I mean, take advantage of the situation you're given, and get the best finishes that you can. Um, I still think that we'll see Larson get up here if he can get around Noah Gregson and not have many issues like we've seen him have with lap cars so far this season. But I mean, yeah, really good for Christopher Bell to take advantage of this situation.
Yeah, so far today we haven't seen Kyle Larson do something that threw the race away, so we know it's got to be coming at some point here. But I mean, also today, Jay, I think this is the one time we know he's fast, but we haven't actually. I think it's the first time we really haven't seen that 5 of Larson just be up there in the mix for the lead the whole time around.
Yeah, he got that damage. I think it was stage two when he got the damage. No, I think that was actually stage one and stage two when he might have gotten damage. I can't quite recall correctly, but that certainly set him back and has put him in a position of needing to claw his way back up to the front. And we just haven't really seen him lead a whole lot today. We saw him fighting Kozlowski early in stage one for the lead, and it looked like he had a fast car along with Kozlowski, but both of them having issues has set them quite far back. And unfortunately for Kozlowski, he seems to be in a much worse position than Larson is.
There we have 3 wide down the back into turns 3 here for that front spot. We got 2 race winners going for the lead here of Almirola, as well as his teammate of Kevin Harvick. But then we've got Kurt Busch going for it, still looking for that first win. Cole Custer up in the mix. Jay, at the end of this race, or I mean, at least at the beginning of this final stage, I'm seeing a trend here. We got a lot of Fords now all of a sudden that are kind of starting to show up and definitely could continue that Ford winning streak today.
Yeah, I mean, something we've talked about all along so far this season is just the Fords have looked really, really good.
Larson's here.
And we were mentioning, I was mentioning at least early in the race how the Penske guys have all of a sudden turned it up, and well, I think I might have slightly jinxed them because now we've only got Cindric in the top 10. The Blaney is he hasn't really been up there so far today at all, but Logano and Keselowski, who were both up front, Logano being a lap down now, having some damage, and then Keselowski just I'm not too sure what exact issues he's had, but I know he's essentially had some damage to repair, and it's thrown him in the back quite a far away. But yeah, Fords, man, so far this season they are the absolute manufacturer to beat.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski is quite a ways back. You see him stuck there on the outside. He's behind his teammate of Logano, who's a lap down right now. He just seems to have absolutely nowhere to go. Alex Bowman is really struggling right now. He started this race off well. He moved his way forwards, and now he's just been dropping back. Denny Hamlin's trying to work his way back forwards. De Benedetto, who was multiple laps down, actually seems to still have good speed in that car there. You see Ryan Blaney there, as we were just talking about Penske. But hey, we also noticed a 20 of Bell now falling quite a ways down the order as he's not even in the top 10 anymore.
Yeah, which I mean, I kind of saw that coming. I truly didn't think he had the pace and the speed today to be a contender. I really did think that it was just a case of him getting lucky and then also having the clean air. And then once some of these more competitive guys got back up towards the front, that he would kind of fall back. But I mean, in saying that, he's fallen back, and we have not seen Alfredo fall back. So very surprising to see him still up here and showing that somehow he has speed that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, Alfredo right there crossing the line currently runs in the 8th position. I just saw the 3 car ever so slightly get into that wall. Shouldn't affect them too much. Now, as they continue in this 3 wide racing, we're bringing in a few other cars. We got William Byron trying to get up in the mix. Blaney's trying to get there, but he's got to get through that 20 car first. We got Chase Briscoe just outside of the top 10 right now, down in P14. Denny Hamlin, he's trying to work his way up there. He's been one of the best overall in terms of getting points this season, but hasn't really been in the mix for any race victories now as they go down towards turns 1. I think I saw someone tag that outside wall once again now as you see Tyler Reddick. Jay, another guy. Tyler Reddick, I do see some damage on that right side of his car, but he's another guy that's having a really strong run here.
It's almost like that outside line is a really big advantage because you obviously you get the run off the corner, but man, it really seems like at least going into turn 1 and 2, you can just ever so slightly misjudge your line and you tag that outside wall, and we've seen it be issue for a lot of guys today. So you got to be, oh, as Alfredo almost got into it, but you got to be really careful about your line going into 1 and 2, not put yourself on the wall and give yourself unnecessary damage.
Yeah, Alfredo was very close there. I don't think he ended up hitting it, fortunately for him. Now, as he's dropping down towards the bottom part of that top 10, Cindric, Byron, and Blaney all up in the mix now as Jones, or sorry, not Jones, but Bell continues to fall down the order in front, actually, of Eric Jones. Hamlin trying to get through on that inside. We saw a great run from Bell nonetheless there in stage 2 and even in stage 1 at the end there. So still a good points day for them overall. If they can still finish where they are running right now, that'll be a good confidence booster for that team. But Jay, who's not got a confidence booster right now? Kyle Busch. I mean, first car out of the playoffs, and clearly, I mean, couldn't get any stage points today with this moment he's having with the front end. And I mean, he's gonna get probably only at this moment right now probably 9 points. So it's not a good day for him.
His bad season just keeps getting worse. There's no other guy in this field besides maybe Alex Bowman that has had as bad of a season as Kyle Busch has had. And I mean, he's had a lot of issues, and yet he's still 1 car outside the playoffs. And Alex Bowman is sitting down there 60 points outside the playoffs. So that just goes to show just how honestly kind of bad Bowman has been running this season, and Kyle Busch has just been I'll call it bad luck, but he's also just been giving himself a lot of issues that he really does not need to have.
I mean, we saw him wreck himself, Las Vegas under caution. Well, today as well, drove into the back of the 42 of Ross Chastain. We look back at Daytona Road Course. He wrecked himself 2 or 3 times there. Ended up DNFing eventually. So when you think about wrecks this season, Kyle Busch comes into my mind right off the bat of just how many times you've seen him have some type of trouble. Now, as Kyle Larson has shown up going for the lead into turns one here. Martin Truex Jr. in the mix. We saw Truex recently. I think it was Homestead, Miami, if I'm not mistaken. It was Las Vegas, actually. He got up in the mix against Eric Almirola very late. Went for the win. Came up a little bit short there. But we know that that 19 car has some speed. But Jay, honestly, of the powerhouse teams, it seems like that Joe Gibbs Racing seems to kind of be the weak link. They're not running bad by any means, but they clearly don't seem to have what Stuart Haas or Hendrick Motorsports has right now.
Yeah, and I'll take that a little bit further to even say maybe all of Hendrick doesn't have that really either. I mean, we've seen Chase Elliott have some speed, but he's had a lot of issues too. Bowman obviously is very far out. Larson we've seen have a lot of speed, and he's really the only one we've seen in Hendrick have a lot of speed. Byron's ran all right, but I mean, as far as big teams go, it's really been all SHR, and then Penske's just now starting to ramp it up. And we've really only seen Truex run decent out of the Joe Gibbs staples so far this season. So I mean, yeah, I really think it is just all Fords right now at the moment, and then a couple of guys here and there that are having exceptional seasons compared to their teammates.
Right now, you look up in the top 10, we got at least one, two, three, four, five, about half the top 10 right now are Fords there, as you see. I mean, mostly Penske, or sorry, not Penske, Stuart Haas with Custer, Almirola, Kevin Harvick, Chase Briscoe. He's a little bit outside of the top 10, but Penske only has Ryan Blaney today, which as well they do actually got Cindric as well, actually, as I mentioned that, to go down into turns one, but Kyle Larson still working it, trying to get the lead. He doesn't really have much help here. None of his Hendrick Motorsport teammates are around now. As Jay, this is honestly a lot calmer of a start to this final stage than I was expecting. We still haven't had an incident today, and if they keep it up, I don't think we're going to see an incident. Maybe for the first time this season.
Well, now that you said that, I think you've officially jinxed it. I'm expecting a wreck to happen now, especially. I mean, you got to remember they're going to catch lap cars here at some point, especially if they stay green. And these guys, I mean, we mentioned it before. If they catch them three wide, going to be a big issue. And then as soon as they catch them, they sort it out. So I think they'll probably see the lap cars coming and do like they've done so far and sort it out and not go through these guys three wide. But I mean, it's the last stage. You can't really just openly give up positions. So it wouldn't shock me if we see them still stay three wide as they get up to lap cars, and maybe that is what causes the issue. And we've still got two, maybe three pit stops left to go this stage, and we could very easily see somebody do a short pit, and then at the very end of the run, they're slow and they don't really, somebody's coming up behind and has a big run, doesn't realize it, and get turned around, and there we go. Now we got a wreck. So a lot of things can still happen in this race to cause incidents. I truly would be shocked if we go incident free here.
Or we could see a situation like Matt Benedetto had in coming out of the pit lane. You get hooked into the wall by William Byron or something like that. The three wide for the lead with Almirola, Kyle Larson, as well as Cole Custer. And there should be green flag pit stops coming up here very, very shortly. It seems like they can run about 20 to 25 laps, it seems like. So I would not be surprised whatsoever if these guys come in very shortly here now, as Kevin Harvick finds himself in the middle lane there. But you got some drivers like Daniel Suarez, Bubba Wallace. They are not on the lead lap. They are in the mix because they've got the speed to be here, but they've gotten themselves in a position where, of course, they're not fortunate enough to be on the lead lap going for a race victory in this third and final stage from Atlanta. Now, as it's now 2 by 2 here, at least in the first couple rows with Almirola and Larson. Jay Almirola has really surprised me this season, picking up that win recently, of course, at Las Vegas, and he's just been downright fast. And I mean, he continues to show that here today at Atlanta as he's going for the lead again against Larson.
Yeah, I think that goes to show just how good that team is when he's already won a race and Cole Custer's run a race, won a race. There we go. I mean, not to take anything away, God, not to take anything away from Custer and Almirola, but they're really just not the guys that you expect to see up here winning races, especially this early in the season, and especially a mile and a half, which is where they both won races. So, to go back to my earlier point, I really think that the Ford is just so far the manufacturer to beat this season, and SHR in general. It wouldn't surprise me if we see all four of their cars get a win, and maybe see a couple of their cars get multiple wins.
I mean, Harvick's already done the multiple part on himself, and yeah, I would absolutely expect to see others follow through with that. Maybe Eric Almirola today. Custer's got the potential to do it as well. Of the race winners so far this season, Coco!
Mm!
Oh, big crash! Oh, no, no, no. We got a big incident. Truex, Harvick, Cindric, the rookie, Almirola, the Fords that we were just talking about. All the main Fords in the mix just crashed. Wow. Kurt Busch as well, who was going for the lead, and who didn't get involved, surprisingly, is Kyle Larson, but
I
caution is
think they're
out.
green. Never mind, they're not green. Okay, the
Yeah,
way I was
caution's
seeing pit
out.
stops
Thank
happening
goodness.
there,
The
that kind
20.
of Christopher Bell got big damage. Oh man, that's
Oh,
that's
my. That's a lot of damage on that car.
yeah,
Not as much, of
that's a
course,
lot
as
of
the others.
damage.
Oh, the
The
14.
six car has damage. The
Every
14
Stewart
has
Haas.
damage.
Every Stewart Haas car is collected in that
I
incident.
have a feeling a lot of this happened maybe on the slowdown. Kurt Busch
Absolutely.
immediately retiring. That's a lot of damage to that car. Way too much for them to continue. But I think a lot of this other damage just happened maybe on the slowdown and trying to avoid this incident.
We've already got cars coming out of the pit lane there. Byron, Alfredo, Hamlin, Bubba Wallace. Well, Jay proved me wrong. I thought we were going to stay green to the end with no incidents, and here we are. Oh, wow. I am shocked. That was big.
Tyler Reddick got torn up there. Another car that was having a good run today.
And
Man, and I
I'm not
mean
sure
for
what happened.
Larson, that's the first time I think that an incident's happened around him and he's missed it.
I don't know how that, like, we saw what happened, but how did that happen? I thought maybe someone was trying to pit or something. Larson just got hit in the right side there by the 12 of Ryan Blaney. That could be a moment that might actually hold him back if they got to fix the car. I don't
That
see damage
doesn't
though.
look like there's too much damage, honestly. There might be a little bit, but I don't think it's as badly damaged as the 23 was. As he's
Oh,
certainly getting some repairs.
yeah. Oh, I just okay.
But
He's
so I
okay.
could, yeah, he's all right.
He loses a few spots, but I'm sure he'll take that then versus getting collected in that big incident there that just took out all of the top running Fords. The commentator's curse is certainly real. We talked about something going right. Ford dominance about 30 seconds later. Well, the Ford dominance just got wiped right out. I mean, Truex is still running. I'm sure he's going to be well off the pace. Then we
I
got
don't
Kevin
think
Harvick.
Truex got that much damage. I think all he did was turn Harvick, and that was about it. I'm not sure if he slapped the wall or anything. It didn't look his car didn't look too damaged when he was pulling away from the incident.
Nonetheless, a lot of cars damaged in that incident now. Very unfortunate. The 10 of Almirola is still in the pit lane, so is Cole Custer. But Kurt Busch, he's the only one, I believe, so far from that incident. Yes, he is the only one that has actually DNF'd. Now, as we're going to get a look at that big incident here in Stage 3. The main culprit of this incident trying to get to the pit lane in a mix of a bunch of cars. That's exactly what happened right there. The 41 of Custer had no idea that was happening. Truex, Harvick, they get collected after that. And then after that, these guys trying to pit right here. Briscoe turns the 20 of Christopher Bell, and then we have a bunch of drivers pile in. But Bowman, Keselowski, they managed to get through it. The 16 actually got involved as well. But a bunch of cars, a bunch of good cars damaged here in the third and final stage at Atlanta. Big incident, Jay. I think that completely caught us off guard. We knew pit stops were coming, but definitely did not expect it to turn into what it just did.
Yeah, definitely didn't at all. And the scenarios of potential crashing, uh, we didn't really consider these guys going to pit road as being a reason for them to pit. I mean, we saw it at Homestead kind of be an issue, but we have not seen it be an issue so far. They've been able to cleanly get to pit road, but unfortunately, Almirola just slams on the brakes, and as Custer's trying to arc his way down into the inside line of the corner, just has nowhere to go. And when you're up at the front of the field and that happens, you're going to get hooked in front of the rest of the guys, and it's just going to turn into a big bunch of calamity. And unfortunately, for a lot of these good drivers, that's going to virtually end their day as far as being competitive.
Overall, a very surprising, shocking moment. A bunch of good cars taken out of the picture. Kyle Larson Still in good shape. That's one I think we're both watching now to keep our eyes on for the win. But before we get going for this restart, we're gonna go to a quick break and come back at you guys and get back going here from Atlanta Motor Speedway to potentially the end of this race. Welcome back here from Atlanta. View from Daniel Suarez, by the way, and that big incident here at Atlanta that he barely squeezes through. What a close call right there, and then he gets through the rest of it. Oh, he actually did get a piece of it right there, but it still didn't really affect his car now as he manages to escape a huge incident here from Atlanta. Back to the live scene though, here from Atlanta, the lights were off of the pace car. They are actually back on now, so I don't believe we're going green, but here's the situation. Denny Hamlin leads because with these guys being able to race it back to the green, drivers like Denny Hamlin, Anthony Alfredo, William Byron, they actually had pitted when these guys were racing back to the line. So they were able to stay out after everybody had caught up to the pace car. So it's a really interesting scenario right here lining up as you see the 36 and 23 out front. They are actually currently on the lead lap. And if we get a really quick caution, they will get to cycle back around, and this will be a really big opportunity for them. But sure enough, we are not going green yet. But there's the lights off the pace car. But Jay, yeah, I think Reagan, Bubba Wallace, they're really hoping that we get a really quick caution somehow here.
Yeah, they're going to need one very quickly. Either that, I mean, they're still going to need a caution no matter what, but I think the first thing they're hoping for is maybe to get a good restart and get away from the leaders here, as maybe the lap cars can somehow hold them up, and then pull away and have a little bit of time for a caution to come out. And then secondly, they're going to hope for a caution to happen. Because if one does not happen, they're going to have no chance to do anything, and they're probably ultimately going to fall down back onto the being a lap down.
And we look at how many laps we got to go now, Jay. We got just over 70 to go, and they can go about 20 to 25 laps. So they could try to do a two stop, but realistically, I think we might still be looking at a three stop, maybe. What do you think?
No, it should be a two-stop, right? Because they would do 25 this run, pit, do
Oh,
25
yeah,
the
no,
next
you're
run,
right.
and then be able to
Yeah,
pit. So still a two-stop
yeah,
race,
two stop.
and there's no way they'll be able to shorten it down from a one-stop to a one-stop race. So going to be really close on three stops. So we might see some teams make a mistake, as we've seen already happen. Some glaring pit stop stuff, happening that shouldn't happen. But at very least two stops, the entire rest of the way.
Just over 60 laps to go. It is not 70. That's why I messed up there. Now, as we are, though, back underway from Atlanta Motor Speedway. So it'll be interesting to see after a whole bunch of good cars just got taken out. Who's going to be the one to watch now? I mentioned Kyle Larson. I mean, Jade, the driver that we were looking at, Kevin Harvick, he just got cleaned right out. So, I mean, other than Kyle Larson, is there anyone else you're watching? Maybe Denny Hamlin here for the potential race victory?
We haven't seen Hamlin have, well, no, we've seen him have good pace. We have not been able to see him run up front though. So now that he is up front, I'm immediately interested to see what he can do. We've seen him run down. He's been behind like the lead pack a couple times. We've seen him run it down a couple times already in this race. So I think he's got some decent pace. He just hasn't had a chance to be up front. Now that he's up front, we may not see him relinquish that position unless somebody gets in his way and something kind of dumb happens. But I think we'll probably see him certainly show that he can win this race and stay up here towards the lead.
Certainly not doing any favors for his own car and his own driver, Bubba Wallace, putting him back a lap down as William Byron in P2 currently here. As you see the order on your left top of the screen, that's of course a little bit confusing with all these cars, but Ryan Blaney now up into the top 5, as well as you got Alex Bowman in the top 10. Corey LaJoy is currently in the top 10 as Hamlin takes command clear of the field. Alfredo still finding himself in a good position, in a good run now is Kyle Larson, P7, right behind Alfredo there, as well as Ross Chastain, who's in
Ross
the top 10.
Chastain is a guy who's been running in the 30s this entire race, has suddenly found himself to be in 6th place.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
that's very important for him.
he's struggled all season too. That's another car. I mean, compared to his teammate Kurt Busch, he has clearly not done a good job in that 42 car. He's got some damage on the car earlier from Kyle Busch, but I mean, overall found himself now in a pretty strong spot, which honestly, Jay, if he continues to run like he has, though, I don't really think we can expect him to be a driver, though, that's going to be contending for a playoff spot.
Oh no, I certainly don't believe so at all. We've seen him every single week be back in the 30s, if not the low 20s. He just hasn't been competitive at all so far this season, so I don't expect him to be a playoff contender at all. But I mean, certainly he's been gifted a good position in this race, and with Kyle Busch staying in the way of these guys for so long back here, he's put a lot of these guys really far back. And I mean, Keselowski's still getting held up by both Kyle Busch and Cody Ware. So really, just once Keselowski had that damage that he needed to repair, his race has just really gone way wrong for him. We know he has a very good car, but he has just not had the chance to do anything at all.
Byron to the inside of Denny Hamlin, therefore the lead. Kyle Larson is starting to get up into the mix. Three line in the middle between Austin Dillon as well as Bubba Wallace for the Hendrick Motorsports driver. I mean, the driver that has been leading the Hendrick Motorsports team this whole season now. Had a chance to win the Daytona 500, had something go wrong. He's had chances to win multiple races already this season, and something has gone wrong. But this time we saw something big go wrong, and Larson was not involved. So you really got to keep an eye on him as he continues to move his way forwards. As Denny Hamlin, though, continues to lead the way with Daniel Suarez, Bubba Wallace, both up here in the mix, but one lap down. Suarez, I believe, is, just one lap down. No, sorry, no, he's 5 laps down. That's right, from the initial start of this race. But Hamlin's got a decent buffer. Jay, using these lap cars to his advantage, can kind of create a bit of a wall between him and then cars for position.
Yeah, and he's also running in that preferred lane too. Byron can get up here and challenge him all he wants, but there's no way he's going to be able to pass Hamlin without getting to that high line. I mean, that high line is just such a big advantage here at Atlanta. You can run next to guys all you want, but you're not going to pass them if you're not in the high line. As we see Larson making the move here, taking his teammate 3 wide almost, going into turn 3. As I think he's showing now that he's back and he's ready to go for the lead.
Another thing I want to touch upon is 17 of Chris Buescher. He's missing the back end of his car, but still running very well. He hasn't had a great race. Been running similar to Chastain. He's been running better than Chastain, but he's in a similar spot, really not in the mix whatsoever. And here he is having a good run. He's inside the playoffs. I kind of look at Buescher, Jay, as a driver that's this whole season kind of been keeping himself out of trouble and then getting good finishes out of it in the end and putting himself well inside the playoffs right now.
Yeah, very, very far inside the playoffs. And he's another guy that, we talk of. Normally, we don't expect him to be a contender at all. And so far this season, he's had some speed. And he's, at the very least, put himself in a pretty good position to be in the playoffs. He's just got to keep this speed up. And, oh, man, they are riding that apron, which is certainly interesting. You know how I also just said that you can't make a pass on the inside? And Kyle Larson's almost doing it right here. I mean, good Lord, he is fast.
A big run there on the outside, but yeah, he made it work there for a moment. Now, as it seems like turns 1 and 2 is the best option for the inside, and turns 3 and 4, if you're not on the bottom, you're going backwards for sure. Now, as he is potentially going to get cleared by the 99 of Suarez, even, but no, he fights back up that inside into turns 1. So Denny Hamlin continues to lead the way now. As you see, Jay, we look at cars that were just taken out in that incident. Briscoe as well as Reddick, they are going to be the first lap cars. Like the 8 car is topping out at 168, which is close to 20 miles per hour different from these guys. So this could be huge when they get to them.
Yeah, a lot like Noah Gragson at Las Vegas when there was such a big speed difference between him and the pack. That could be a really big deal as they catch him so fast. And A, he doesn't have time to react, and B, maybe he does something the leaders aren't expecting. They don't have time to react to it either. And it's just, the closing speed here is something that can be really dangerous and catch guys off guard so quickly. So you got to really pay attention to them as they're going to catch not Noah Gregson, is they're going to catch Tyler Reddick and hope that we don't have another wreck here. I believe Cole Custer is the other car who has DNF from that wreck, which for him, luckily for him, he has the win to rely off of. Yes, he is DNF'd. So he does have that win to rely on, and doesn't affect him too bad. But yeah, certainly unfortunate for Stuart Haas to be involved in that wreck the way they were.
Yeah, very unfortunate there for Custer. We did see him come back on the track after that incident, but clearly they could not continue on. Suarez up to P36. I believe that's still 1 point. I think it's 36th through 40th. They all only get awarded 1 point, and then 35th is when it starts to go up to 2, or actually, sorry, to 5, and so on. Suarez actually almost got to the back of Hamlin there on the exit of turns 4, I noticed, but he's not been holding back, and we mentioned earlier he's had a lot of speed in that Trackhouse Chevrolet Camaro. He actually just drove right on by the 11 car of Denny Hamlin, so if only Suarez didn't have that starting issue, Jay, we very well could have seen him in the mix for a race victory here today.
He's been up here towards the front the entire time so far. Pretty much the entire race. He really has shown that he has good speed, and I really wish that he didn't have that issue at the beginning because I would, seeing him lead this race right now, if he were leading, it'd be a thing of beauty. It just, I really do think that he actually had a good car today and a really good pace. Just unfortunately for him, his car did not fire, and he started this race several laps down.
Still 5 laps down for Suarez. We've seen him have moments of 4 laps down, and then it goes back to five. But Ryan Blaney is up here in the mix as well. Came up just thousandths of a second short of a victory last episode in a photo finish with Joey Logano there at Phoenix Raceway. And that was what made the difference between getting locked into the playoffs versus still having to come to Atlanta this week and try to race his way in now, as Blaney has had an up and down season, Jay. But I mean, that win could have changed everything for him. But nonetheless, another good run for him today here, as he was kind of a little bit subpar earlier in the race, but of course, avoiding the trouble has put him in a great spot as well to watch here in the final
Yeah,
45 laps.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you there, but yeah, another guy who's taken advantage of the position that he's been given, and getting a good run out of some other guys' misfortune. A lot like Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin was someone like we hadn't seen run up top earlier. As I thought I might have saw the caution light on for a moment, but I think that was just my eyes being weird.
No,
But
green lights on.
okay,
We're
so
good.
yeah, but Denny Hamlin, another guy taking advantage of the situation. He hasn't been running up front all day. I certainly think he has a decent pace to be. But, he gets gifted that position of pitting right when the caution comes out and gets gifted the lead, and he's certainly taking advantage of it by keeping that lead.
And you see here, Tyler Reddick now within the same turn of these leaders here. Down the back straightaway he goes. Larson still side by side in the mix for the lead with Denny Hamlin. But these guys are going to catch Tyler Reddick probably within another couple of laps here. As you see, they are closing in so quick. Quick update on the fastest laps. Truex holds the fastest lap. He won't be setting that one, setting a new fastest lap anytime soon, obviously. Almirola, Harvick, the top three actually all involved in that last incident. Then we got Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson, even Ross Chastain up there with the sixth fastest lap. Alfredo, Austin Dillon, Chris Butcher, all interesting. But here we go. Out of turns two, very close to this lap traffic, Jay. I think if anything we've learned in this race is that lap cars like to stay high. So Denny Hamlin might want to try and get down right off the bat here.
Yeah, the lap car staying high has actually kind of been a better thing for these drivers than in previous weeks where when they run the low line. Them staying the high line has given these drivers a lot easier of an opportunity to just go to the low side and get right past them, and then they go back to running the preferred line they want. So Hamlin and Larson easily by. Unfortunately for Blaney, he put himself in a position where now he's going to be getting passed by these guys to the inside, like Byron and Chastain, potentially Chris Buescher if he stays behind long enough. But I mean, yeah, the high line is almost a good thing for the lap cars to be in because it gives leaders an easier chance to choose what line to go and get around them.
They definitely haven't seemed to be as catastrophically dangerous this week compared to like a track like Las Vegas, where we saw Kevin Harvick running away and then got wrecked by Quinn Half there, going a lap down and ended Harvick's day. Kevin Harvick, it's been a very interesting season. Jay, he is now wrecked at each mile and a half in very dramatic fashion when he's at a fast car. So it's been really interesting to see. I don't think he's a big fan of mile and a half, but after today, we're already three down, and that leaves, I think, only six remaining or something like that. So there's really is not that much mile and a half racing left this season.
It truly would not shock me if had Harvick, sorry, not gotten wrecked in those 3 mile and a half races. He honestly might be 4 for 5 at the moment, maybe 5 for 6 after today if he had not gotten wrecked in those other the 3 races now. So I mean, he's just been so good this season, and luckily for him, he's already got those 2 wins to bake on, so the DNFs don't hurt him that much. But yeah, he's quote unquote not gotten the results that he's raced like, but he's also gotten those 2 wins, which, like I said before or a moment ago, it's not these DNFs aren't gonna hurt him too much considering how much he's already locked in.
Yeah, at this point, he's just here to try and pick up playoff points, and he can do that with stage one victories, stage two victories. Of course, a race victory would give him three playoff points, which would be even better for him now, as it's still side by side between Larson and Hamlin. But then you got Chastain and Byron side by side, then Blaney down there in that fifth position. So the top five definitely a little bit shaken up since that big incident here, as we had Hamlin now in the mix, Byron, Chastain, Blaney. We knew Larson had speed. He was showing that, and he's still up here in the mix. But again, Jay, we have to be coming up on green flag pit stops, I would assume. So we very well could see some action once again. Honestly, they got to be, I would think, expect them within the next 10 laps or so, maybe even less.
I think Hamlin may be pitting
Right
right now,
here.
along with Suarez and Bubba Wallace.
Yep.
And that is indeed true. So, yep, they're getting to pit road cleaner this time than we saw with the last pit stops, which I'm not too sure why the light is flashing red right now. Did the yellow just come out? Pit road looks like it is
It does look
technically
closed.
closed.
The caution is out.
Yes, the pace car. Yep, the pace car is on track. The caution is indeed out at Atlanta.
And Byron leads. Not sure. I see these cars here. They've been damaged, but
Truex with no, Truex had his
that looks
damage
new.
fixed. That's
Yeah.
heavy damage that he just got,
That
and
okay.
potentially the same for Almirola as well.
Unfortunate there. Once again, two cars that were having great runs up until that initial incident earlier. But Denny Hamlin, is he going to get penalized for that? I wonder, or
Looks
is
like
he
Cindric
okay?
has damage as well.
Cindric and Logano
He's
on the
sitting on
right
his
side.
block back there.
A bunch damage there. Oh yeah,
Yep,
absolutely.
Cindric is
And
torn up. Yeah.
I just saw someone else as well, just DNF from the race actually. That was the 54 car as Harvick is coming through there. But before we get a look at what in the world just brought out the caution, we got to make sure that we get these pit stops underway. But Jay, that was similar to the last caution. Hamlin pitted kind of when the caution came out, so he might cycle back out to the lead.
Yeah, it also seems like the pit stops, green flag pit stops, have all of a sudden become an issue for these guys
They
when
were fine
for the
earlier.
first two, yeah, for the first two stages they were no issues. So I'm not too sure what just happened. I mean, maybe there was no pit stop involved with that wreck, because obviously we haven't seen a replay yet. We don't know quite what happened, but oh, his Chastain looks like his engine
Oh,
is blown up. That is unfortunate for the guy that we were just talking about having a good run for the first time this season.
bad stop for Blaney as well. So it's Byron Larson, Chastain third off the pit lane, but I mean, obviously blowing up. That's going to be the end of his day likely now, as he's going to have to give way here momentarily. Uh, I hope here is once they get on the back straightaway, they should get it sorted out now. Very unfortunate for him. Finally, oh, what's going on back there? Blaney just about made contact with the 48 of Bowman. This is creating a little bit of an issue as they go down the back straightaway. Um, oh boy. They should be okay. Keselowski's going by, and now everyone's on the track, and Bowman's going really slow, but it seems like they're going to be okay now. So, um, really interesting, Jay. I mean, we got all of these cars right here that I think are not going to have to pit, if I'm not mistaken.
If that is true, oh boy, is,
Hamlin's
is
leading.
which I believe that also leaves Briscoe on the lead lap now, and Stenhouse and a couple others. A couple other of these guys, I believe they're all on the lead lap.
19's done.
Which, yeah,
42
you
had a
can see
clutch
that
issue.
coming for him. You can see that coming for Truex. That was just way too much damage to be repaired on that car, but that might
That,
have just given
oh
some of
my.
these guys back on the lead lap, which I don't think will last very long because a lot of them are very slow.
That 20 car right there is in third. The 4 car is in fourth. And then you have to go to William Byron, Kyle Larson for fifth and sixth. Then you got Alfredo, Austin Dillon, Alex Bowman, and Corey LaJoy rounding out the top 10. So everything is just really weird right now. And now it's really turned into typical NR2003 fashion. But before we get going for this restart, we're going to go and see what brought out this caution to begin with here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Here's the angle. Eric Almirola the same way the last wreck happened with Almirola slowing down trying to pit. Well, you saw what happened. The 19 hooked him just like the 41. The 33 involved. The 54 hits the 22 after he got wrecked. So Logano and JJ Yeley involved as well, bringing out the second caution of the day here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. So now getting ready to go green this very lap. Cindric is now out. Yaley, as well as Truex, we mentioned, and then Chastain with a clutch issue as you saw that smoke pouring out of the car. But it's going to be a very interesting restart to say the least. Jay is Hamlin, the leader, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows deep. So I don't know what to expect on this one.
Yeah, as we have some very slow cars in front of him as well. So it's going to be all about navigating your way through the lap cars here. And the first one to do it is going to be the lucky one here and be the one who goes and gets this lead. And I mean, with the amount of time we have left, these guys could be fighting with these lap cars for I don't know half of the run that we have left. And we've seen them take quite a while to get through these guys here today with the just this old surface and how they can run multiple grooves and everything. They're really hard to get around some of these lap cars if they're not just detrimentally slower than you.
And we are going to have to pit probably 10 to 15 laps, I would imagine, before the end of the race. If it stays green, Eric Almirola is still on the track, so very well possible we will not have a full-on green flag pit cycle. Now, is Hamlin not wasting any time, going 3 wide in the middle? He still has the lead right now, and it's Eric Jones, by the way, in the 43 car in second place. Just got kicked out of Joe Gibbs Racing, now running in P2. Actually going to go through to take the lead here now, as we got down the order. Third place, Christopher Bell, William Byron in fourth. Kevin Harvick is somehow in fifth. Jay, with all that damage on his car, he might still get a top 10 out of this thing just because of just how wacky things are with his running order.
Yeah, I really don't know if we have time for this stuff to get settled out enough for him to maybe get shuffled back. I mean, if we get a quick caution right now, we get another, I don't know, 7 or 8 cars back on the lead lap. I mean, look at all those guys that have gotten away from Eric Jones and Denny Hamlin here. So I really, actually, no, never mind. Eric Jones is a lot further up than these guys than I thought he was. But still, I don't know if there's enough time and enough good cars left to send Harvick down, packing back down the lineup. I cannot believe that car is running sixth right now. I mean, he has no rear end.
Baffling. As Byron, by the way, now second, but I mean, you look how far back he is from Eric Jones. This is imagine if Eric Jones wins this race and puts himself in the playoffs. He couldn't win in the 20 car last season, and Joe Gibbs said, "You're out of here." And here he is in Richard Petty Motorsports equipment. And now with 30 laps to go, approaching 29 to go, Jay, here he is leading in these lap cars or slow cars are playing right into his advantage, allowing him to open up a big gap.
I would immediately go ahead and start calling for him to win because I mean it's just so many lap cars in the way. Hamlin's still behind a bunch. Byron's still behind a couple. I mean it's just I don't know. I don't know if they can catch him, but we still also have you got to think about there's still another round of green flag pit stops to come. And I mean with the way we've seen them all of a sudden start causing chaos, we could see our last caution happen then, or we could see somebody short pit and gain the lead that way. And there's only 10 or 15 laps left, and we saw that when you short pit, you don't fall off until the last 3 or 4 laps of the run. So very possible that someone short pits here if we stay green, and we can see whoever short pits win this race.
Well, I definitely spoke too soon because the 24 is already here. Now, as he's also bringing Austin Dillon, Alex Bowman, as well as Ryan Blaney, as Hamlin's still a little bit stuck in traffic now as they go down this back straightaway. But you see, Byron is right to the back of that 43 car. So Byron could be the first non-Ford to win this season. But then you got Alex Bowman. Jay, I'd be very surprised to see if Alex Bowman win this race considering the season he's had. But now with the way this thing has gone, he's in position to fight for that victory.
We were just speaking about his season so far before the race and what he needs to do to get in the playoffs, and we both kind of agreed that he's pretty much going to have to win in order to get in at this point. I mean, 60 something points behind after 5 races in is just it's almost an impossible gap to get to overcome just solely on points. But I mean, if he wins here today, boom, automatically the bad season we were talking about him having, boom, he's automatically locked into the playoffs, and he's he's able to focus on just getting the car and team better to go in and run the rest of the season to be competitive for the playoffs. But I don't know. I think Byron at this point, I think Byron looks a little bit faster than him. We saw Byron having some speed in the previous run before this, and obviously now Hamlin's back up here too. So I mean,
And
can't
Blaney.
can't count out Hamlin or Blaney or Byron or really any of these guys if they're able to get past those slow lap cars back there.
Definitely going to be interesting now as we have just over
Looks like
25
Larson.
to
I'm
go.
sorry to interrupt, Gary, but I think Larson's getting clear of them now. And if we can see Larson get up here, I mean, he's one we
Yeah, there he
know
is.
that has speed. So I
And
expect him
yeah,
to run right up here to these leaders.
that could work for him now as he goes down into turn one.
Keselowski too, who I believe is
Oh,
Keselowski finally back inside the top 10.
we know he has speed. Started pole. I mean, and he's just been stuck the whole race, and now yeah, he's up in the top 10, following along with Kyle Larson, and now Byron gets clear. We're seeing finally the actual leaders get to the front of this pack with Hamlin 3 wide with William Byron as well as Ryan Blaney, Alex Bowman right behind, tucked in there behind that 11 car. As you got, of course, these lap cars like David Reagan, Bubba Wallace, Matt DiBenedetto, Ty Dillon all up in the mix. But now Larson's here, Keselowski's closing. But now less than 25 laps to go. Jay, we know a pit stop's coming. Like I said, it's got to be coming probably, my guess is between lap 180, 185. I feel like with how short that long or last run's going to be, I think short pitting here could win the race.
Oh yeah, short. Okay, short pitting. I thought my power just went off for a
Huh.
second. My bad. Short pitting. Short pitting has definitely got to be the strategy here. I think, in my opinion, we saw it earlier. We just the tires get eaten so fast here. And if you can get onto pit road while these guys are still running another lap or two, you can gain a couple of seconds just within 1 or 2 laps. So I really do think that if some guy is smart enough here to pull the short pit strategy, they may be the car who wins this race. And if I'm Alex Bowman, I got nothing to lose. I mean, I try it. I would not be surprised at all if Alex Bowman is the one who tries to short pit this race by maybe 5 or so laps, and goes on the pit road so early that they really try and go for the win in this race.
Only 15 cars, by the way, on the lead lap, which is a bit surprising. But then we have a bunch, of course, from 33rd on through 39th out of this race. One thing I want to mention here is you look at the right side of that 5 car. I think Kyle Larson got in the wall again. So when he comes to the pit lane, they might choose to fix that car. They might not choose to fix that car, but there's definitely a little bit of damage on the right side of that car here as they go down into turns one. So we'll have to see what they do on the pit stop. I mean, the wise decision would say just go for it, don't repair it. If they do spend the time to repair it, that will take them right out of the mix here. Now, as Blaney leads away, definitely wants redemption from last week when his teammate of Joey Logano was able to just barely beat him in that photo finish for the victory now as Bowman continuing to run strong on the bottom. J. Austin Dillon as well. He's up here in the mix. We've seen him steal some victories in his Cup Series career. Could be in position to do that as well today.
Yeah, highly possible. We've seen him run all right today, but he's a guy who I'm looking at. He does have some pretty good right side damage to that car there. So I think his team probably will make the decision at the pit stop to pit, and that'll probably take him out of contention in the race. And I think right now Larson's probably sitting behind him, thinking, "Dude, or in my way, I get move." He's probably trying to find any little bit he can to put his nose to the outside of Austin Dillon and get around him here, because I truly do think he's holding him up.
And when we do get into green flag pit stops, I'm looking at that car right there. Eric Almirola. Right now, the only car behind him is the 6 of Newman. That might be for the best because I think if anyone was behind him, we might see another caution because he just has a weird way, apparently, of trying to come into the pit lane, it seems like. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. As you see, Harvick actually now is quite a ways down in P14, the second last car in the lead lap. Even Eric Almirola's got turned head on into the wall twice. His run's P15 right now.
Yeah, that just goes to show how wacky NR races can be. I mean, Kyle Busch has had issues starting since the beginning of this race, and not really even had that much heavy contact, and he's running worse than Kevin Harvick, who basically got absolutely destroyed in that wreck, and Almirola, like you mentioned, who went into the wall twice and caused both of the big wrecks we've seen so far. So I mean, it's just, weird and wacky is the easiest way to describe it. As I noticed, Larson has gotten around Austin Dillon and is right there fighting Denny Hamlin for
Going
second
for the
place.
lead. Up the inside on the exit of turns 2. Larson, of course, been in the mix, but we really haven't seen him be in the mix at this far late into the race. So definitely maybe a good sign for that 5 team of Kyle Larson now as he comes through to turn 4 trying to get ahead. But definitely green flag pit stops have to be coming here within the next handful of laps. So be ready for that. Now they're going to go 3 wide potentially for the lead with Blaney, Hamlin, and Larson into turns 1 and 2. Blaney doesn't want to go and give up a win. And right now you look at the top 10. The top 10, Jay. None of these guys have won actually this season. So, I mean, we're pretty much destined for a new winner.
Yeah, I think that every winner we've had this season has had issues today. I don't think any of them are really in contention. So certainly going to be a new winner. And I think of the top 3 right now, all 3 of those guys are 3 drivers that very well could already have a win this season and don't. So I think all 3 of them are looking to get the win today. And I don't know, we don't want to see any of them make a mistake to wreck themselves. But I think you'll see all three of them race really hard and do everything they can to put themselves in victory lane.
Almirola has passed some cars, so he's going to be right in a group of cars when he decides to eventually come into the pit lane here. So that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on within the next few laps. Is Larson looking to potentially go 3 wide? We really, Jay, haven't seen Larson do much on the outside today. And I mean, knowing him, a driver that is very well known to go up to the top, make something work. And in a race where the outside lane seems to be preferred, we haven't really seen him experiment with that top line whatsoever today.
He just hasn't been in a position to do it. He was early in the race using the high line, and that was when he was able to power around Keselowski and take the lead. But unfortunately, he's just been stuck on the bottom so far, trying to fight for the lead from Denny Hamlin for the most part for these last part of the race, and that outside is just such a big advantage. And Hamlin has such a fast car. Larson just can't do anything. He's been stuck on the bottom this entire time. If he's able to find his way to the outside, I think he easily goes and powers to the lead and honestly doesn't get past again.
I'm watching for potential pit stops here because I see the 8 on the pit lane, and I couldn't tell if that was scheduled or not because he is not DNF from the races. They continue to go 3 wide here, but definitely keeping an eye on this group of cars right here for the pit stops. That's the one I'm really watching right now. They stay out once again. Now as we go back to the lead pack, same situation. Larson, Hamlin, Blaney. I mean, this pit stop, Jay, is going to be the deciding factor in this race. And if I'm Kyle Larson, I pit right now because we're only going to have like a 10-lap dash here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why Bowman hasn't pitted yet. I truly don't. I'm quite shocked to see that they're not taking advantage of pitting early and just trying something. I mean, he's so far back in the points. I just don't see why he doesn't try something and just go for it here. But I mean,
Kyle Busch.
I'm not too sure. Maybe they're thinking that if they pit too early, they'll screw themselves on tire wear. I really don't know. I mean, we saw teams try it in the earlier stages, and it didn't affect them until the last couple laps of the run. So
We're
the smart
seeing them.
idea is to pit now.
Yeah, we're seeing a few come in here, but it's back markers, so it's going to be interesting. Approaching 10 laps to
Bubba
go.
Wallace is pitting.
Yes, 23 comes in right here, so we got to keep an eye on a driver like, or this group of cars right here. It's really where I'm thinking something could go wrong. Harvick makes it in the pit lane, so does a 20 car. Oh, there we go. We got Keselowski. I just saw him come into the pit lane. Now as they come through the turn two, so it's now side by side with Larson and Hamlin. Jake Keselowski might be able to pull something off here as they go down into turn 3.
Yeah, that's a really smart move in my opinion for Keselowski. Austin Dillon may be pitting here. It looks like Larson is as well, which is a really smart move for these guys. But I think they might have just gotten beaten by Keselowski. I think Keselowski's team just made a really great call in getting into pit road there, especially with the main handful of lead lap cars not pitting.
Almirola made it without causing a crash. This is what I'm watching for here is the 3 and the 5 going to take time to fix their cars? Because we know they both have right side damage. You see the 3 car.
Certainly does have significant right side damage. The
He's
5,
taking a moment.
they may skip over that.
Watching
I'm not so
here.
sure if we need to watch the 3 that much because I think they will definitely fix it, but the 5 is certainly an important one to watch.
I think they're fixing it. Yep, they did. Oh, they only took right side tires.
I think everybody may be doing right sides here, which I don't know. I mean, they didn't pit with any of these guys. Obviously, they had quite a gap back to Almirola, and Austin Dillon is just coming out with Almirola, so I think that's going to be a bit disadvantage for them unless these leaders take 4 tires. Let's watch Hamlin here and see what he does.
Right side's up, and he's going.
No, okay, well, that's going to be a huge disadvantage for Larson and Austin Dillon then.
I mean,
I think the car now to watch is Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, I guess that's a throwaway again for Larson. As he comes out of the pit lane, I don't think they needed to fix that car. They clearly had the speed capable of winning the race as the 20 goes by. I don't believe that is for a position. Now, yeah, it looks like he was a lap down here. So we look here. Bubba Wallace a lap down. I don't think Keselowski. Here he comes right now.
It being only a 2-tire stop, it may not have made that big of a difference. You and I both were not thinking about 2 tires, and I don't think it made that big of a difference.
He got to 3rd. I mean, which is still overall a
It certainly
gain.
helped, yes.
Yeah.
It certainly definitely did help, but it wasn't the race-winning move you and I predicting that it would be. As there's a caution, I saw the flagman waving the flag.
Yeah, caution's out, and it's 7 laps to go. which means we're going to have potentially.
Corey LaJoy is the leader.
Oh my God. Where is Corey LaJoy? We just saw him. We just saw him.
They just passed him coming off pit road.
Oh
They may have,
my.
I believe, yeah, I believe he will be officially scored as the leader here. I think.
Wow.
I'm not too sure.
And the question is, will we go green here? I believe we will. We should be
Yeah, there
a
should be
lap or
enough time to
two.
go green with another lap or two left.
So, no, Hamlin's now the leader.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so it's cycled out. Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher, Kyle Larson is still in the top five, actually.
The only thing that may hurt
Wow.
Larson here is he's going to be restarting fifth with a bunch of lap cars to his inside.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be very hard for anyone to really have anything for Hamlin, considering the way these restarts are. But if
Mm-hmm.
Blaney can stick with him right off the bat, then we could see something. But
I'm curious. Check the leaderboard and see if any of these cars in front of Hamlin right now are on the lead lap, like 4, 22, 14, 20, or 23.
23 is on the lead lap. The
Okay, so
20 is on
23
the
and
lead
20
lap.
will be in front of Hamlin.
Yep.
Are you sure he's not on the lead lap? It just said he was.
20. Yeah, I said is 23 and yeah,
Oh,
20
is.
are.
Okay, okay. I heard you wrong. And the
14.
4.
4
So
is
all of these guys are.
not the 14. Not the 14.
Not the 14? Okay.
So that could make things even more
Yeah, so
interesting.
the 22, the 20, and the 23 are all on the lead lap. The 23 doesn't have bad pace, but the others certainly do because they have a lot of damage.
That's going to make things even more interesting. We're going to quickly find out what brought out this caution here in Atlanta. Reason for the caution, Eric Jones gets hooked right there by Ty Dillon into the outside while Kyle Larson just barely squeezes through on the right-hand side, bringing out a late caution here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Jay, this is going to be the first time we actually have a short dash to the end of a race here.
I'm really this has me excited. I'm excited to see how this restart goes. The only thing that I'm kind of worried about is the lap cars, but I mean, yeah, exciting that we finally get to see a late race restart with just only a few laps to go.
Back to the live scene here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Pace car still on the track. It's going to be a 2-lap dash here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So we're going to go to a very quick break. Come back here for the final restart of the day at Atlanta Motor Speedway with Denny Hamlin out front. Back at Atlanta, getting ready to go green. 2 laps will be remaining when we take the green flag, this time by Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, Christopher Bell, the 20, or Chase Briscoe, and then Christopher Bell, then Bubba Wallace, not in the picture for the win, but it's Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Brad Keselowski, Tyler Reddick, and Chris Buescher, your good drivers right up here. Buescher's actually and Reddick are not in the mix. It's Kyle Larson in 5th, but it's the 11, the 12, and the 2 that we're watching here now as the lap cars do not come up to the bottom. So Jay, right here, it's going to get interesting to see if Hamlin can hold these guys off.
Yeah, it's not going to be the restart that I thought it was. I thought we'd have lap cars in the way. So I mean, you could see a guy like Blaney immediately dive to the inside and maybe try to make something happen here. So it's going to be really important for Hamlin to get a good launch here off the restart and immediately cover the inside line.
And we are back underway. 2 laps to go, and oh, this is already going to get interesting here because you see Bubba Wallace goes to the inside into turns 1 and 2. Where does Hamlin go? Covers out Blaney. Blaney was in this position last week at Phoenix, came up just short of a victory over his teammate Joey Logano. Now is in position to go for it again. Keselowski's getting stuck, so it's definitely between Hamlin and Ryan Blaney, but Blaney is going to have to act very quick or hope that the 11 gets held up by somebody, because you can see right here a decently comfortable gap as they come through to start the final lap in Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now down the front straightaway towards turns 1, Hamlin gets past Kevin Harvick. Blaney within about a car length and a half. He's going to get even closer through turns 1 and 2, but this back straightaway is going to be the deciding factor. Hamlin follows his own car, Bubba Wallace. Now Bubba goes to the top. Hamlin follows, but it doesn't look like Blaney is going to have much at all as they go down into turns 3 and 4 for the final time here in Atlanta. Keselowski down there in P3, but out of turns 4. Dominance comes to an end as Denny Hamlin comes through to win in Atlanta over second place 2 weeks in a row of Ryan Blaney as the rest of the field comes through to cross the line. Keselowski 3rd. Buescher with that destroyed car in P4. Kyle Larson top 5. Corey LaJoy rounds out the top 10 here in Atlanta. Jay, I mean, what a race. We saw some big crashes that I don't think we expected to see. Some great racing at times. And Denny Hamlin ends up ending Ford dominance by one spot as Blaney was the closest Ford to him.
Absolutely great race today here. I mean, we had a lot of really good racing up until, I mean, even after this couple of wrecks we had some good racing, but we didn't have a whole lot of issues where lap cars were just completely ruining this race and getting in the way. I mean, they were in the way, but it wasn't terrible, and them running the high line really helped. But man, this was a really good race today, and I mean, like you said, their Ford dominance finally coming to an end. We see a different manufacturer getting a win. Denny Hamlin getting a deserved win because he's been good so far all this season. Larson unfortunately finishing fifth yet again, still not able to get it done. He's going to find a way to get it done sometime this season. But man, look at Bowman finishing in sixth. We mentioned it so many times throughout the day that he needed to have himself a good finish, if not a win, and he got sixth. And he outscored both Truex and Kyle Busch, who are the last couple in right now in the playoffs. So really good start for Bowman, and he needs to keep that up and really get his season going here.
A great day overall for Bowman. You mentioned there. I mean, we had three Hendrick drivers actually up inside the top 10. Then, of course, Chase Elliott DNF'd. But there you see the finishing order on your screen. I mean, but overall, great racing we saw today. And I mean, Jay, we look at next week, Bristol Dirt, and we don't know exactly what to expect with that one. Not even sure exactly what track we're gonna run, what version and whatnot. But that one, that's probably the biggest wild card I would say of this season of the NR 2003 kind of play through follow along season.
Yeah, certainly the biggest question mark of the season, especially if we have to use the Bristol that I've tested, because it'll be really interesting with the way the cautions fall and stuff. Because like I mentioned, the cars just pit really weird and odd there, and things for some reason happen that shouldn't. Like cars go a lap down for just sitting in their box for no reason when they don't have damage and stuff. It'll be interesting at the very least. If we have to run that track, there will be things for us to talk about, but the way it runs, it almost looks like a normal Bristol. So don't expect a completely wild race with cars, sliding into the turns and them needing to run one line and everything. It almost looks like a normal Bristol race.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to say the least. But of course, before we end this episode, we'd just like to say thank you to everybody that took the time out of their day to watch this episode with myself and Jay up here in the booth, doing our best to bring you guys an action-packed race, which we saw a lot of action in today's episode here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Not sure how Bristol Dirt is going to go, so it's going to be interesting next week, and we hope you guys join us for that one as well. So once again, thank you all, and we will see you guys next week at Bristol Dirt. Have a great day, everybody.